So, hey Kyle.
Hi, Trevor.
How's it going?
Dude, I'm doing well.
Okay, so I hear there's a new Predator movie that's about to hit theaters.
There is a new Predator movie that's going to be hitting theaters, written by Shane Black and directed?
Yes, directed by Shane Black, written by him and his buddy Fred Decker.
Did he write and direct the original Predator, or did he just write it?
Shane Black?
Yes.
He was actually just one of the guys who died early in the movie.
I thought he wrote something. Okay, maybe not.
Just directed by John McTiernan. I actually can't confirm who wrote it, but I know for a fact Shane Black played Hopkins, who was the fellow with the glasses. Jeez, you got a big pussy.
Yes.
Jeez, you got a big pussy.
Jesus.
Yep.
You know, he's the obnoxious character in there. And then
yeah, he's the first guy to die.
And then then Bill Paxton takes the even more obnoxious role in the second Predator.
I'm sure they had Christmas together.
No, you gotta go over the top of this guy.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know about you, but well, I do know this about you.
Yeah.
Predator franchise for me, like Alien and Predator are like two of the movie franchises that I legitimately have some stock in. Like, I actually do have an emotional reaction when a new one is announced.
Yes.
Because, like, you know, like Marvel, Star Wars, like something new comes out, and there's almost like a feeling of obligation to get hyped about it. But like Alien and Predator, it's like it's in my bones. Like, this is stuff that since I was a little kid I was obsessed with, and like every time I hear an announcement of a new one, it's a really big deal. So like this franchise, these movies, like, I keyed in on them early in life, and I've kind of like obsessively rewatched all of them over and over and over again.
I keyed in a little too early. I was way too young to be watching Predator 2. We had it on VHS, and my brother and I watched it. I couldn't have been more than 8, which is, I think, a little too young to be watching Predator 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could make an argument that Predator 2 is maybe the most gratuitously violent of that series, except the AVP Requiem, I guess.
See, I actually ranked it number 2. Actually, you know what? I'll just go through I'll do my rankings real quick.
Okay, let's do a ranking.
We'll do a ranking of the Predator franchise.
I like numbers.
So Predator 1 obviously is really good. You introduce one of the most awesome creature designs.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just awesome. So the whole movie is just kind of leading up to that. And once you actually get the reveal, it's pretty great.
Also, to pause you for a second.
Go for it.
Think about how long it takes to get there.
It takes the whole movie to get there.
It takes the entire movie to get that face.
I was actually thinking about this the other night. There's a good probably 20 minutes where there's no talking, I think. I'm not sure what it actually is, but there has to be, because once everybody's dead or everybody's gone, it's just Arnold hunting the Predator.
Yeah. It's all visual storytelling, and it's very strong visual storytelling.
It's incredibly strong.
And it's bolstered by a great soundtrack too. But I'll let you keep going with your list, but I just want to emphasize, like, part of the key to the success of that first Predator film, I think, is that they push it to like an hour before you see this thing. Like, even uncloaked.
Yeah,
like, the
right.
first time you see him is when he flashes on the tree.
Yeah.
When you see that. Well,
is that when Mac loses his mind?
That's when Mac loses his shit.
Yeah.
And that is way late in the movie.
That is pretty late in the movie.
We've already had more than half an action. We've had an entire action film up to that point. Like, we've had an entire short Arnold film up to that point.
What is the Arnold in Commando? Is he in the jungle in that too? Or
John Matrix.
Is he, or is that Raw Deal? I was thinking maybe it was like, this was actually like one of those other things that he was doing in one of his other movies. Like,
well, see, the funny thing is, like, if his character Matrix, if Matrix was in the jungle, like if it was the same character, the Predator would stand no chance.
Real quick, so Arnold's had a lot of really dumb names in his movies.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I think if you go with the action heroes, the 80s action heroes, it goes Arnold, Stallone, and then I'm going to go Seagal over Jean-Claude Van Damme. You might disagree. But as you go down, the names in their movies get dumber and dumber.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think Seagal has
the dumbest names.
Hey, but they're also the greatest. Mason Storm.
So dumb.
Forrest Taft. It's like, damn. Casey Ryback is legendary.
Yeah, Casey Ryback is legendary.
Casey fucking Ryback.
But I digress.
Yes. So,
yes.
Continue with your list.
So the second one I think is Predator 2, and I actually think is the more rewatchable of all the Predator movies. because of what you said. The violence is just off the hook. Like,
I'll let you flow with this one for a bit.
So when I was watching these, I was just remembering what I had liked about the original Predator movie. It's one of the best Arnold movies, I think, honestly.
I think so, absolutely.
And there's very few one-liners in there, which
stick around.
Have you seen that? Like, it's like 10 minutes of Arnold one-liners. It's insane how many one-liners he does in movies. But there's like maybe one or two in there.
But they're some of the best. Get to the chopper.
The violence is awesome. I was trying to think, I'm like, what was my favorite death in there? And I was like, how did Jesse Ventura die? I'm like, he just gets kind of blasted in the chest. And like, you don't see Hawkins die on screen. You see afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was thinking when Chubbs gets it.
Chubbs?
When he gets it, Carl Weathers. When Carl Weathers gets it.
Dylan.
He's been pushing pencils.
Pushing too many pencils.
He gets his arm chopped off. Spoiler alert. He gets his arm chopped off, and he just gets the what's the two-prong thing?
He gets the wrist blade up the sternum.
The double wrist blade, yeah. And he lets out that. It sounds like he's gargling almost.
I think that's my favorite death in the movie.
But then I was thinking back, I'm like, Mac's death was really, really good because you have him like trying to creep up on the Predator, and then just out of nowhere, if you've never seen it before, you just see the dots. You're like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
something bad is about to happen. And then he just kind of brings his head around, and then you get the behind.
Yeah.
But it's even cooler because you didn't realize that the Predator was right above him. Like, he wasn't even up in the trees. Like, he was just standing right over him. Which is why I think that's my favorite movie death in that.
I still think Carl Weathers gets the better one, especially since the two of those are linked. Those happen back to back.
They do happen.
And I think Mac's death actually enhances Carl Weathers' death, Dylan's death. Because if you remember, Carl Weathers actually sees Mac. He sees him dead, and remember they were trying to pincer him. They're trying to flank him, and he's part of a plan. And then he has that moment where he gets to see that, the other part of the plan's dead. And then his arm comes off, and then he gets, a horrible death. But like the one thing that's really neat about Mac's death, though, is that I think it does a lot to enhance the formidability of the Predator, where it shows that it's not that it has the best tools; it's also very smart.
It's a sneaky death.
It outplayed him.
It's a very stealthy death. Like that. At that point, you're like, oh no.
Because you need to remember too, playing into that scene, Mac was stalking this thing. He was with Carl Weathers in the bushes, and he said, "He's right there
in them trees
over there.
I see
past the trees."
I love that.
He emphasizes all his words in like the most distinct way. It's amazing.
It's one of those things. If I hear it like in the background of something, I'm like, I know exactly what movie that's from. Like I could just hear that anytime. Oh yeah. I don't know if I told you this. I saw this when I was pretty young, but we had it recorded off of like TBS or something, so it was completely edited.
Oh, okay.
So for the longest time, it was still a fun movie. As a kid, you love Arnold movies. Well, you should.
Dude, he was all in those presidential fitness commercials.
My
Terminator 2 VHS had a commercial of him run with the fat kids.
It was it was Michael Jordan, McDonald's, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those were like the three biggest things in the 90s.
And Michael Jackson trying to sell me Pepsi and stuff.
But yeah, so I actually didn't see the actual version until I was older.
Okay.
Like maybe late teens.
Okay, so let me get this time frame right. So you saw Predator 2 first?
Absolutely. We owned it.
And then how long after did you see the first one?
It was around the same time. We definitely saw Predator 2 first.
Okay.
But then we found Predator, like, I don't even think it was one of those movies that wasn't labeled. Like, you would record movies, and then you'd forget, like, what's on here? I'm like, oh, it's Robin Hood and Terminator 2. But you didn't know that Terminator 2 was on it until you get through Robin Hood.
Yeah,
there's a second movie.
I had a couple of VHSs that were double features, where it would, like, turn into another movie halfway through.
Sometimes we get the triple. You
put it on LP or whatever, long play.
I think it was, like, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and then, like, I think Unfaithful or something. Remember, because you could record, like, you could rent. Couldn't you rent a movie and then record it, like if you had another VCR?
Oh yeah, no, my parents did that all the time. It's like how our collection was formed.
Is that legal? I mean, I don't,
no, it's not.
It's legal. Most movies I saw were not bought, basically.
Oh yeah, no, my Empire Strikes Back copy had the VHS logo in the bottom right, and Batman Returns we recorded off of like NBC or something, and that was edited.
Oof.
So the fat clown that was in the pool at the end that Christopher Walken gets his revolver from,
yeah,
I didn't know why he was there. I was like, oh wait, there's a gun in the pool? Okay.
Maybe that's what it was. So Max, the headshot that Mac gets, I think that's why that might be my favorite one too, is because for the longest time I just saw like his eyes go big and then he's dead. So when I saw him, like, oh Jesus!
Oh, splat!
Yeah, because you get the blood splat right on the camera. I'm like, oh no!
Like, oh, you're gonna need a new lens. Shit.
Yeah. So I didn't want to get too much into Predator 1, just because, I mean, if you're listening to this,
you can tell we both know it like the back of our hand.
Exactly. I'm like, there's no reason I need to rewatch.
We could make this entire podcast remember that one part in Predator? That was awesome.
Same with AVP. I don't ever have to watch that movie again because we just kept it going for some reason.
I watched it again recently, but to be fair, I've seen it maybe 4 times, which is quite a bit for a not so good movie.
I've seen it about 4 or 5 times.
But so continue with your rankings. So Predator 1 is the top.
I say Predator 1 is the top, and I say Predator 2 is the second best because it's strictly a Predator movie, and it's the second Predator movie, so it's going to be the best one. It's really good. So the notes I had when I was watching it, the violence is really good. I think that maybe I'm misremembering. I think that the violence is a little bit more brutal in the second one. It may not be as frequent. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, you don't see... So the Jamaican gang. So when they take the Colombian dude... Oh, by the way, the gratuitous sex scene in that movie.
Yeah. You get some mail package in there.
You get the whole package.
Oh yeah, he rotates. He does a full rotation.
I like the shots going into that. Like, it starts off from very, very far away.
Oh, and then the thrust cam.
It just keeps panning.
I call it the thrust cut.
The thrust cut. I was trying to think. I'm like, I like those shots, but I'm like, but what? I can't think of when I've seen it in another movie. And what else could you use that shot for? Like you're just focusing on the same thing. You're just getting closer. I mean, you've seen the one. I think it's the beginning of Psycho that just comes straight in like that.
Yeah,
or maybe it's the end of it. I can't remember.
There's a good throwaway shot in Die Hard that I don't know if it was like in the book that it was based off of, because there's a lot of weird little details in that movie that are really awesome, and I don't know why they're there, but they add a lot.
Book? Die Hard's based off of a book?
I forget the title, but yeah.
I figured it.
Summer reading.
I thought it was some dude in his garage with a 6-pack of Budweiser Tall Boys. Like, all right, and then this other guy comes in and he shoots him, and then he's in the vents and shit. Like,
you need to be taking a drag off of something in between.
It's a cigarette. It's a cigarette. He ripped the filter off of.
There you go.
Like, I don't need that.
But there's a shot in Die Hard where I think it's right before he kills his first terrorist.
Carl?
No, Carl's brother.
Carl's brother.
Yeah. That actor, I don't know his name, but he's been in every 80s action movie and Mission Impossible.
I thought for the longest time...
I promise I will not hurt you.
I will not hurt you. I could have sworn he was in Spies Like Us, but I think I'm mistaken.
He very likely is. He was in... what was it? The Living Daylights, the James Bond movie. He was in Mission Impossible as the guy that puts the shroud on his head. He's just a really tall, blonde man that knows martial arts. Anyway, before they have their confrontation, there's this shot where John McClane is looking out the window. And I think he's like looking for options on how to call for help. Yes,
because there's a woman,
and he sees a woman on the phone, and it's kind of from a similar like voyeuristic angle. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that just came to mind. Well, also a 20th Century Fox production.
Well, I mean, if you think about like watching, I'm just wondering how they did. How'd they do it though? Because it looks like it's an actual building. So they're either posted on another building trying to get the shot, and then I don't know if they're just zooming in gradually.
I'd have to see it again to confirm, but there is a chance that it was actually composited.
Yeah, okay.
Like the exterior is an actual building, but the interior, the lit set,
Yeah.
is actually just a soundstage. Which is guessing what. That's my guess. Is how they did that.
I'm like,
Because that was a set.
Yes.
In fact, I have this joke on the pillars.
Yeah.
That with that weird modeled pattern.
Yes, it's like Aztecian.
I think they stole those directly off the set of Blade Runner.
It's very possible.
It looks like the Tyrell guy's home.
I haven't seen Blade Runner in so long. I'd
Well,
have to rewatch it.
there's a guy who gets his eyes poked out with
Yeah.
some thumbs. his house had that same like pillar, and I have a feeling it's exactly the same prop.
Gotcha. Well,
Anyway,
I do have to rewatch Blade Runner, but we'll get to why.
we'll get to.
We'll get there.
So Predator 2 is number 2.
So number 2, yes. I found it more rewatchable. Bill Paxton is a lot of fun. I really.
It's his specialty.
He's always like Aliens. He's great. True Lies. He's also fun.
Oh,
he's so funny in that.
Man, he's great in that.
Is that movie a comedy technically? Because you've got Tom Arnold and you've got Bill Paxton.
It might officially be classified as a comedy.
It's pretty fun. I'm gonna have to give that a rewatch. I was gonna say the cold open in Predator 2. You get like the Predator cam.
Oh, sweeping up from the fake jungle.
And then it's just dudes like snorting cocaine shooting cops. Like,
It's just RoboCop.
it is brutal. I was just like, man, that is a really brutal cold open. They're just shooting cops in the street.
Oh, yeah.
And like blasting cocaine. The one dude just like passing on and
Dude, I thought he was gonna have an aneurysm when he was gearing up to go back out.
yeah.
Like he was red.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was like, I think you popped some capillaries, bud.
The scorpion is ready. So I think that there's 2 really good movie deaths in this one. Again, spoiler. I really like it. And you know how I feel about decapitation scenes.
Yeah.
I think that they're really brutal, but when done right, it's really effective.
Big fan of the multiple hits.
Yes.
Like, it's not, you don't see it often, but it's a good thing.
Well, and it's the rule of 3 in 30 Days a Night. My favorite decapitation scene. If
Yeah.
you can have, I'm not a psychopath. I swear. I like makeup effects, and I think that pulling something like that off is probably difficult. One in Conan, I think when he's hacking off.
Oh,
James
that
Earl
was
Jones.
great. That was great.
So King Willie, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that scene where he's talking to Danny Glover, and then he walks away, and then he pulls out the sword.
The other side.
And then he's just posted.
That pose is great.
He's got the cool pose,
Yeah.
and then he says something about the Holy Mountains or whatever, and then just.
See, I have very mixed feelings about that scene, actually.
Really?
The lead up to it is beautiful. The footsteps in the water from behind, that's actually a very good effect. And it looks great. The soundtrack, Alan Silvestri did the music for both the first 2 Predator movies.
You could see, yeah.
Back to the Future guy.
Okay.
He also did the Avengers theme. He's a very prolific composer. He kicks ass. He did not slouch when it came to the Predator theme. Music's great. The angles are great. Special effects work in that scene. Mm-hmm. Some scenes in the first 2 Predators work better than others. That was a good example. I don't know. I feel like they were trying to like do a tip of the hat to Billy dying in the first one off screen.
Maybe I could.
You know, challenge with a melee weapon and then dies off screen.
Well, is there Billy was just such a stoic character in the first movie that you're like, he's one of those guys like, this is gonna be really difficult, and I think that was what it was. It was like he's gonna give him a run for his money, and it sounded like it took him no time to get to Billy.
that was kind of funny, but like because of the lead up to his death, you think that like, ooh, it's gonna be like Charles S. Dutton in Alien 3.
Oh, okay.
He beat the shit out of that alien. Like he was punching it.
Yeah.
He was punching that 9-foot tall like dog alien.
He made him work for it.
He made him work for it, and he was screaming the whole time.
The guy's built like a fullback. I mean,
yeah, and he took that shot with him taking the glasses off. It's like, it's like that alien probably like thought about it for a second. Like, it's like, hang on, I gotta warm up for this guy. I've just been killing skinny British guys all day. This guy's a different story.
These guys are malnourished and they probably have polio.
It's like this guy's been stealing some people's lunches. Like, but like, yeah, it is kind of weird that Billy seems the timing especially, it sounds like he went down
very
like
quickly.
a bitch.
Because they go, he's doing his crazy eyed stuff, and then they're just like, they show that they're seeing each other, and then immediately you just hear him scream.
Yeah. Then again, the way he was talking before that, the image he projects is that of a really tough, scary guy.
Yes.
But the things he's saying before that, if I remember right, he basically says we're all going to die.
Yeah.
So maybe he wasn't as tough as he put on.
Yeah.
And either way, it's a fucking predator, and he's trying to fight it with like a knife and a belt wrapped around his hand.
Oh, by the way, the protein shake farts that must have been on that set. Because they are all jacked. Carl Weathers looked like... They all look like professional. Every single one of those dudes is jacked.
When they're pulling up the counterbalance or the counterweight or whatever... Oh,
Arnold's
Carl Weathers is just like... Bruh!
Arnold's just like... Just jacked crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But
No, it's well documented that all the guys on that set were in competition with each other.
Yeah.
Like, Jesse Ventura was not shy about talking about his biceps.
Yeah, that was so funny. Jesse thinks he has the biggest arms. He's actually wrong.
Jesse thinks he has the biggest arms. Jesse Ventura, yeah, I got these 26-inch pythons. I picked them up in Wisconsin.
Or Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I don't mean Wisconsin. Okay. What was I gonna say? So yeah, I like
King Willie.
I like the decapitation because as a kid, it was like, oh, like I said, I saw that way too young.
Yeah. No.
So when you just see a dude's head, like it looks pretty real when you're a kid. And going back, I'm like, it's pretty good. Like they did a pretty good job with it.
No, this head sculpt is actually pretty good. The way they shot it was bad.
I think I think they spend a little bit more time actually showing what the Predator does in the second movie. The first one, because it takes so long to actually get introduced to the character. The second one, you see him like cleaning the skull and then putting it on the skull of his other skulls.
You see that in the first one.
But then you also see him like having to like.
You see that in the first one too.
Having to like fix himself.
Yeah.
When
he got shot in the leg. When everybody dumped 1,000 rounds at him or whatever,
he should not have survived.
All they did was he shouldn't have.
He should not.
He would be goo.
He would be goo.
But yeah, he gets nicked in the leg, and the girl sees the blood and stuff. And he does the whole med kit thing on himself.
I feel like the second one they spent a little more time.
They did because there was that really extended, like protracted scene where Danny Glover's trying to get down to him, and we get to see him cauterize his arm wound and stuff.
He does cauterize that.
Oh yeah, no, that was a neat scene. I'm really big on visual storytelling, and actually in my notes for the second one, noted that especially earlier in the film, there's a lot of that, but it kind of tapers off and it gets more dialogue heavy. Early on though, there's a lot of scenes where it's just like watching things happen and trusting the viewer to figure it out.
Well, you have the Gary Busey subplot as well.
The Gary Busey subplot.
So the one, my other favorite death from that movie is Gary Busey's death. It's also the most problematic, and I don't know if I've talked to you about that. He should have died the first time. Predator doesn't make mistakes very often.
Yeah, actually, now you think. Keep going, but I have some thoughts on that.
So when Busey's back. And he throws his disc thing across, and he cuts him in half. But the shot shows the top half bleeding down. And it's in real time, too. So I'm like, that's impossible. He even had extra weight up there. There's no reason that he wouldn't drop even faster.
So that scene in particular is very special to me. Okay. Because I watched that entire fucking movie waiting for that because my brother hyped it up.
Oh, really?
He's like, oh, the Predator disc, bro. Because by that time, like, I saw Predator 2 very late, actually. Okay. I saw the first one very early. But the second one I saw very late. And by then we had, I think, 2 Alien vs. Predator games. And the disc was prominently featured in them.
Side note, my brother has that video game, and I played it while I was at home. A lot of fun.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm
sorry. A lot of fun.
So seeing it on film for the first time, I was very excited because I knew about this thing, and I had only seen the first movie, though, and he didn't have it in that one. Mm-hmm. So the big reveal of the disc is, on paper, I think it sounded fantastic, but the execution is piss poor.
Okay.
Because the idea of throwing the disc, and then they have the the pyrotechnics set up on the slabs of beef. It's like, it's gonna go through 3 slabs of beef, and then we're gonna put his body behind one of the slabs of beef so the actual impact is completely obscured, and then we're gonna cut away from him.
Yeah.
And then the next shot is gonna be him on the ground. So what you described is what your brain told you happened.
Yeah.
But it's burned into my retinas. Like, you don't actually see anything.
You don't see the blood.
You see the blood.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually get bisected or cut in half or whatever. Like, it cuts away. And then he's just on the ground. And I remember reading the production notes on this movie, and I guess it was very close to getting an NC-17. I'm sure
they just had to cut out that sex scene. They could have.
They could have cut out the thrust cut.
That sex scene. Side note: that sex scene is more hardcore than softcore porn.
Yeah, and then that mannequin, the dude mannequin, didn't have to rotate the whole. Like, somebody could have steadied it or something.
I'm saying you can show dicks in movies. I don't care.
That's fine.
That's fine. But
if it's gonna make you choose between showing Gary Busey get cut in fucking half and showing a dick, go with Gary Busey.
I think I learned about how sex works from that movie because it's straight up like you get the her on top view. I'm like, oh, whoa,
wow,
Jesus,
she was enjoying herself.
Who directed this one? I don't even know. Who directed.
Stephen Hopkins, and that's another note that's worth touching on.
Okay.
I know him as the Nightmare on Elm Street 5 guy, as in like
Freddy's dead.
No, the Dream Child.
I've not. Honest to God, I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, and I've seen Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay.
That is my Freddy Krueger.
Okay, well, I've seen all of them, but the documentary that I have on my shelf that's like 8 hours long
yes,
teaches you everything you'll need to know about them. And he was a very interesting British man. I think he was an artist by trade. He was really into comic books. And I'm sure that's part of what got him the Predator gig.
Okay.
Was that... obviously, he has a very good sense for special effects and production design. I think he may have been a production designer because, like, Freddy Krueger movie, you have dream sequences. So you need to have fantastical visuals on a budget.
Yes.
Predator 2, if you look at one of the main differences between Predator 1 and 2, one is shot on location, one is mostly sound stages.
Yeah.
So he's familiar with that world. Other funny note, though, is that, I think the Predator and Alien comics were starting to become a thing with Dark Horse around the time Predator 2 came out.
I was going to ask you about that. So,
yeah.
The comics were first, correct?
We're talking Aliens versus Predator.
Yeah.
Yes, but Predator 2, I think it was right around the same time.
Okay.
But yeah, the crossover, it happened way earlier in the comics than it did in the movies.
Okay.
Anyway, this Stephen Hopkins guy is a comic book guy. So I'm sure that was attractive as well. But funny enough, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is infamous for having been heavily cut.
Okay.
Almost all the death sequences in it are butchered.
Yeah, why not? Why are we going to watch this? Why would we watch this?
Yeah, why would a teenager want to go see this?
Why are we here?
Yeah. So that's 2 movies of his that have both gotten close to an NC-17 and had to be cut down severely. And Predator 2 it shows, I think.
Okay.
Because you had mentioned the kills in it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that the frequency of violence is much higher than Predator 1, but the actual graphic nature of them is actually dialed back a little bit. Because if you remember when he's killing all of Gary Busey's boys, it's sparks.
Yeah, you're right.
Just fucking sparks.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching fucking Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's not, the depths aren't, you don't see it, but so here's a question I have. So there's a scene in Predator 2 when he's killing everybody in the subway for some reason.
That's a huge sticking point with me.
It's just to kill Bill Paxton and
the
Maria
gal.
Conchita
Gonzalez.
Alonzo, you racist. So he doesn't kill her because she's with child, whatever. I'm gonna call. I don't think that the Predator would care. She has a gun. That's what we established in that first movie, was that if they have a weapon,
he didn't kill you because he wasn't armed.
He even says it. And she has a gun, so she's broken rule number 1. Kid or no kid, I don't think that. Okay, but anyway, so Bill Paxton's like, all right, motherfucker, let's dance. And he goes to he obviously is gonna die, but he gets thrown.
Yeah.
So when she comes out, the female police officer, she comes out and she's like, I gotta go down here and check something. And she goes, Danny Glover is down there, and he hears something scream, and then Predator had just he just did the spine.
Yeah, that's after she's encountered the Predator.
So who was that? Was that?
I think that was Bill Paxton.
That was supposed to be Bill Paxton.
I think so.
I wish we could have seen it because, like, the first few times I watched it, like, I didn't understand what happened. Then I gave it a rewatch one time. I'm like, oh, he just ripped somebody's spine out, basically.
Yeah. He was taking a trophy, and it's kind of tastefully shot, actually, because you see the detail. Like, you see the spine and the head come out, and you hear, like,
you hear a scream.
And then Danny Glover has an emotional reaction, which is why...
Hey, motherfucker!
Yeah, he, like, screams and he charges after him, so I have to assume that was someone he knew.
I don't know how they got from the train moving, stopped, and then Bill Paxton was down there. Were they knife fighting down there?
Well, what's funny is what directly precedes that scene is a lady cop ushers everyone out of the subway.
Yeah.
She goes into the subway car to find Bill Paxton, and she actually does find him. He's hanging upside down with a bunch of with all the other gangsters who are dead.
Okay.
And then the Predator grabs her, puts her in. He's like about to choke slam her. Then he's like, preggers.
Just preggers.
And then he,
you've got your own problems.
Well, I like how he kills the old lady in there. So he's like, maybe he detected menopause or something. Or he's like, she's done.
That's fucked up.
Because there's that thermal view shot of his hand over the old lady's face, and it's like,
she's got a gun.
Well, okay, so after he grabs her and detects the fetus or whatever, we cut to her on the gurney, and the ambulance driver very conveniently saying, "This woman is pregnant." Yeah.
I know that now. How?
Yeah. And then Danny Glover charges in there. But so I guess the Predator hung Bill Paxton upside down and then reconsidered. He's like, maybe he's like I don't know, like a little OCD or something. No, because I mean, this guy has some bad habits. Like, he's gone back for trophies.
That's true.
At risk of his own life a few times in the movie by then.
Does he always have to string up his first kill by the feet?
I think so, because like with the drug lords, he went back. And with the Reuben Blades, he went back because he left his little metal shooter thingy,
his little prong
thing.
Yeah.
So I have a theory about this movie because it's been driving me nuts, and it seems like a continuing pattern with these movies. Actually, I think this Predator is either like an outcast or potentially incompetent,
mentally ill, even.
He like that. I think that's the most positive spin on it, because like my theory actually is that the script was actually originally a serial killer script.
Okay.
And it was repurposed because there's so many weird behaviors that this Predator has that none of the other ones have, and it's really weird. It bugs me because when you think of a Predator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dutch, became the ultimate prey in Predator 1 because he was the last guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't singled out. In fact, the Predator tried to blow his arm off right before he was isolated. It was just process of elimination. He was the last man standing. Predator 2, the first time this fucking Predator lays eyes on Danny Glover, it's fixated.
Yeah.
Like, it picks him.
It does pick him.
And it follows him around. And it decides it plays like mind games with him. Like, it follows his friends around.
It does.
It like tries to like cripple him emotionally and psychologically.
You know, I was very distracted from a young age watching that movie because it was just violence and sex scenes. So I wasn't paying attention to the narrative. Like, I wasn't paying attention to like what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned it, like, he does kind of single him out and just kind of follows him.
Yeah, it's stalker shit.
Yeah.
And like singling his friends out and like stalking him at the graveyard. Why not just fucking kill him?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Or because it doesn't compute. Because if you're looking for like the ultimate prey, like the ultimate like honorable fight, then make it a fair fight.
And you also, process of elimination. He's killing all the, you could say, the weaker members of that team and getting down to the toughest one.
Yeah, but it's doing it in a way that seems like emotionally manipulative.
I meant in the first one. What was happening. Yeah. The second one, I might have to give that another.
You really should, because I think it is a repurposed script, maybe. Because so many, and the subway car, I think, is the most glaring example. Do
you think they wrote the first one just off of creature design? Like, somebody just like thought this up. They're like, this is what I've got for a movie. And like, we're making this an action movie.
I think the core concept of that was just like taking that deadliest game story,
that's
and most dangerous game, rather,
most dangerous,
and just putting an alien, like a sci-fi spin on it.
Yeah,
like just the concept of the elite suddenly being kicked down a rung on like the evolutionary ladder. That's a cool idea, and I think that was the starting off point. The creature design is actually noted for having changed dramatically like a month or two before they made the movie. I've seen the original suit that they used for like test footage and stuff with Van Damme.
I'm absolutely look that up.
It looks like just a lizard man. It's pretty boring.
You just reminded me that Tim Burton's Superman never happened with Nick Cage. Thanks for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I'm just thinking of the footage of him like trying on the car.
This is really wonderful.
It's
a real tight fit. I like how it enhances my package.
I'm so fucking buffing this thing.
Oh man, it looks super
so
jacked.
tight.
I look Ghost Rider tight right now.
Damn, this is latex, isn't it? If you are listening to this and you haven't seen, what is it called again? The Superman Lives?
The Death of Superman Lives, I think.
Please watch it.
Oh yeah, no, it's on the shelf.
It'll break your little heart if you're a Tim Burton fan.
Yeah, last point is the subway scene in Predator 2 always stuck out at me as wrong. Predator shouldn't do that.
There was no
there was no reason.
No reason for him to be down there.
That was reckless, stupid, and unproductive.
So here's the thing. If you continue with he's fixated on Danny Glover, and he's killing off this team, so he had to have been stalking them. Mm-hmm. So that's the only way it works then, is that he is actually just stalking his team and killing them.
Yeah. But even then, why do it when it's crowded with people? Do it when they're going home, or do it when Paxton's taking a shit.
Well, he might just be, like, if you think about him as like a serial killer, he's a sociopath. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that fear, and so he's just like, that's
the other theory I had, is that he's kind of different. Like, maybe
he might be a little off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't really play into the ending very well, where it's like he has a bunch of dudes on his ship with him. Yeah. Like, I think it would have been interesting. I like that idea, actually. Mm-hmm. The idea of like a rogue predator that's like maybe an outcast, or maybe mentally unbalanced.
So I actually think that AVP 2, after giving it a rewatch about a month ago, and actually I gave it a rewatch today, just in preparation.
Today?
Yeah. Wow. I don't live in Seattle right now. I live in North Carolina. So on my commute, my plane ride, my 5.5-hour plane ride, I'm like, I'll download AVP 2, and that'll give me some time, and I can watch it and take some more notes.
Feel sorry for the mom and the kids sitting next to you on the plane.
I found something worse than a kid on a plane. It is a puppy on a plane.
Ooh.
A puppy.
That's a first.
An 8-week-old puppy. And
emotional support animal?
No, it's fine. But it was yelping quite a bit. It was adorable, but I'm like, okay, this is pretty awful. Luckily, I'm not trying to sleep. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to say AVP 2 is my third pick. I liked it better than Predators. I do not like AVP. I'm sorry. It's at the bottom of the barrel. That might be a controversial opinion, but...
Well, I'm not too terribly concerned with the rankings. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm just looking for an excuse to throw shit out there. But AVP 2, it's simultaneously a lousy film and also a brilliant film.
I liked it so much more than I thought I was going to like it.
Yeah, no, I watched it again fairly recently, too, and I saw it in the theater. I was one of 5 people in the world who saw that in the theater.
That's 6, buddy. I think I saw that in the theater as well.
No, I was super pumped for that. I knew it was going to suck, but there's so many things I love about it, because it's like a fan film.
It is.
There's so many homages and like little tips of the hat to things
franchises?
To both franchises, even musically. It's kind of impressive, actually. And I miss those movies. Mm-hmm. They don't make that movie too often anymore.
Fan service?
No. Old school B monster movies. Any of those Creature on the Loose movies from like the 1950s?
Oh, jeez.
So basically, small town, something from space crash lands in the woods. slowly works its way into the community, and then you have your big finale where all hell breaks loose.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like a drive-in B movie, like the stuff that I grew up with, like a giant Gila monster and the Blob and the remake of the Blob and all that kind of stuff. And it pays homage to that and does so with decent makeup effects and a lot of gore.
Okay, so you know what I love. You know what I'm going to mention.
Yeah.
Puppets.
Puppets
And dummies. They definitely did some puppets and dummies. I did not. You never actually get to see the actual. I call it AP, the Alien Predator.
Oh, I think the official name is Predalien.
Predalien.
Yeah,
I like AP.
AP.
Like Adrian Peterson, Alien Predator. But I think AP is probably a lot faster.
We'll stick with that.
Predator shooting. Okay, so
shooting loads.
the first thing that I thought of when I started watching that. Okay, so they start with the end of the first Alien, or the first AVP.
Yes.
And then so like the one Predator P is just
the P.
He's just kind of like, oh, what's that? There's some kind of noise down there. He's like, oh fuck! He just sees this thing that's not right. He just starts fucking shooting at it. Blows a hole in the ship.
In his own ship.
It's just boom, boom, and now we're crashing. I started laughing. I'm like. I said, Predator shooting at AP causes crash. Dipshit move.
Well, yeah, I have a theory, actually, that like maybe there's a degenerative disease or something among the Predator community, because they seem to get dumber.
Yeah.
By the time we get to AVP, the first AVP, wow, they're dumb. Because like the first Predator, that was some alpha shit. Like he was on his game. He was on point. Like he was on his Adderall. Like he was like a meerkat, like holding vigil. He was just like, I'm ready to go. Predator 2, he was batshit crazy. Predators.
So it's interesting. So now I was thinking about this was shot in Canada, BC.
Oh, it looks
like it because I was like, that looks like the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And I'm like, I'm guessing, it might have been shot up here. I'm like, it was probably Canada. And you could tell from the actors in there that it was
a boot.
It was Canada. Because you don't know anybody except for the one guy. I can't think of his name, but he's in American Gangster and he's good in there. Oh. So the first one is shot. Is it maybe South Pacific?
First one?
Yeah,
I think that was in Mexico.
Was it Mexico? Okay.
I think so.
So shot in Mexico. The second one on location, LA.
Yeah.
And then we'll say that the actual third Predator movie is Hawaii.
It looks like Hawaii, Southeast Asia.
But it's supposed to be on its own planet.
It's meant to look like everything, kind
of. But this one, this AVP, the AVP is shot in like Antarctica or the Arctic or something like that.
Well, mostly soundstage, if not all soundstage.
And then this one is small town.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Colorado, is what they say it is. But now that you mention it, like, so the first one, kind of an alpha, but he could be like kind of a hermit. Like, he might just be hanging out there. Like, he's just hanging out in the wilderness finding people. The second alien is like actually in the city doing stuff. Maybe the second one's a little more off. Like, you mean like he's actually targeting.
Well, he could also be higher, like on the rankings also, because the idea of infiltrating a densely populated urban environment as opposed to a jungle that people occasionally venture into. It's like, it's a little safer when you have camouflage as opposed to, city lights and traffic and people rubbing shoulders with each other and stuff.
Maybe the first one, he's just like picking them off slowly. He's like, I don't get to kill a lot of people, so I'm going to take my time and really just work through these people. And the second one, he's like, I killed so many people. Like, I'm tired of this. This guy looks like he's a challenge. Yeah. I'm gonna hunt him.
I really do think he has a screw loose. Like, he's a weird predator.
They're all fucking weird, man.
I mean, he had buddies. They didn't help him. like maybe that was on purpose.
Don't judge me on this, but I was watching this movie and the boyfriend, the bad boyfriend. So
bad.
I was watching it. I'm like, I fucking know that guy. He is Chuck Wheeler from Snow Day. I just rewatched Snow Day for some reason. It was on like Stars or HBO, my dad's, and while I was staying there, and I recorded it, and I watched it. He's like, I'm Chuck Wheeler. Like he's playing the exact same guy, except the exact same character, just a little younger. But I was like, that's bad. I know the dude from Snow Day.
I'm amazed that you recognize anyone in AVP 2. I mean, it's kind of designed to be that way. That's actually part of the charm, is that
you get one actor you know, or you could possibly know. Yeah, and that's the cop. There's kind of a reverse Rambo in there too, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, that guy's gone on to do a lot of stuff, actually. Like, he's actually a good actor.
He's really good in American Gangster.
Yeah, no, he's been in a lot. But the rest of the cast is constructed like a slasher movie cast. Where it's like, most of them, you want to see what happens to them. Like, they're there to up the body count.
They're people you do not get emotionally invested in at all, basically.
Yeah, and that's the whole premise of the film, too, though, is that the humans are sandwiched between the more important parties in the story.
They do not give a fuck about killing women and children in this movie.
And I think that's good.
Like the first, the dad and the kid die.
Oh, boy.
Like, we're killing kids right away.
Yeah, and they earned a lot of brownie points with me.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So in Alien 3 is when the dog, doesn't he incubate the dog in that one?
Depends on which cut you've watched.
Okay.
Theatrical version, dog. Supposed director's cut, it's not a director's cut though, because David Fincher disowned that movie, is a yak.
Okay.
But most people know it as the dog.
But the xenomorph is smaller because of that, right? Because of...
It's supposed to take on the characteristics of what it's spawned from.
Okay, so if you incubate a child as a xenomorph...
Yeah.
What does that do? Because aren't you going to have kind of a smaller xenomorph? Is it going to be developmentally the same? Does it matter? Because it comes out full grown. I mean, it has to, because I didn't see any small.
That movie, like all these movies, rewrite the rules every time.
Yeah,
like, because the incubation period is different from movie to movie.
It was like a day and a half.
Oh yeah, the first movie
was it John Hurt?
Yeah, it took its sweet time.
He was kind of bitchy in that movie.
That's a funny thing to notice.
Like, he's just he was kind of rude. I felt like he was just kind of like the edgy one.
Well, I mean, imagine like prepping for that role. Like, he's
It's
probably in
fucking stupid alien movie.
Like, they put the crab thing on my face for 6 hours a day.
Do you know I was in 1984?
I am Big Brother. God damn it!
God damn it! But yeah, I was wondering about that. I'm like, is incubate the right word to use? That's the best definition that I could think of.
Incubate to me would be like gestation period, like how long it takes to come out. Yeah, and then how long it takes to grow up.
But because
go from chest burster to adult. No, these are official terms.
There's a scene in there where the xenomorph is like watching the face hugger too. Did you notice that? Yeah. He's just like kind of behind the corner. It's gonna happen.
Well, the thing about the aliens is I feel that their behavior is dictated by their environment.
Okay.
So if a queen is present, you will have a very different alien than if he's solo.
Okay.
So if he has a hive, he'll be more predatory. He'll be more, isolated. He'll be more concerned with himself. So killing and eating is primary concern. If he has a queen, in this case, in AVP Requiem, the Predalien, or the AP, the AP doubles as a queen.
Yes.
So fostering the chest bursters and the face huggers is a priority because they're trying to reproduce.
Yes.
So behavior like that makes sense, and it's things like that's the important thing. Those are the stupid little details that are important to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, for example, in Aliens, when Ripley enters the Queen's chamber, the Queen is flanked by 2 warrior aliens.
Yeah.
And she actually snarls at them when they're going to make a move on her because she has a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And the Queen is like, "That's my babies, dude.
You got to do something."
It's like, no, she's telling them don't.
Oh.
Because there's a flame in the room.
Yeah.
And if you pounce on her, there's a chance she could burn my babies.
Yeah.
So you cut the shit.
Cut the shit.
Get in the corner.
Sit.
And it's not until she starts burning the stuff that the aliens charge at her.
Okay.
So the Queen prioritizes its offspring.
James Cameron?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the little thing with the drone, the warrior watching the chest bursters and the face huggers and stuff well, some of the puppetry in that movie is better than others.
Yes, so I appreciate that they used puppets, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, some of the shots were kind of funny. Like that one in particular, I'm like, they're using a puppet for that shot, but it's just a weird I'm just kind of looking around the corner to see if that face hugger's on there yet.
Well, the AVP movies used, I think it's amalgamated dynamics to do the creature effects.
Okay.
The first movie, I forget who did that one, but Tom Woodruff does all the Alien movies, like from Resurrection on, and also I think the Predator movies. Whereas before that was Stan Winston, and Stan Winston is a mad genius that gave us some of the greatest things ever. Tom Woodruff and Tom Woodruff Jr. are both good. I think Jr. actually wears the suit a lot of times, especially in the Alien movies, but they've never quite been on the same level. And a lot of it just has to do with the way these suits are shot. But in AVP 2, there's some ugly shots in there. Like I remember in the diner, there's an ugly shot of a predator. Like no, it's a alien comes through a swinging door and like scares the waitress.
Yeah,
lady.
she's like face to face with her, like.
And it's not that great a shot, but I know why it's there. And it's because it's paying homage to Alien 3. When the predator is like nestled up against Ripley and it's that iconic shot where she's crying and it's like sniffing her and then it leaves.
Very iconic shot.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of that movie. There's a lot of that.
It's actually kind of a funny shot the way it's done because
it's just like hey,
just when he kind of walks in.
And it's like a swinging like bar door too. Yeah. So it's like boom, 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 boom.
Did the director of this movie hate women? Because there are 2 women that are pregnant that get killed.
Yes. 2
pregnant women die in the same movie.
Well, an entire ward, like an entire hospital ward of pregnant women gets killed off screen.
Like I was like, okay.
One of them on screen. But
I think Deep Blue Sea that's one of the earliest movies I can think of where you're not expecting the female like one of the main characters, the female main character, that because in horror movies there's usually one dude and one lady or one lady.
Yeah, very rarely. It's I read your book recently. Yeah. It's the breeding pair.
Not my book. I let him borrow a book. Yeah, I did not write a book.
It's the traditional breeding pair. Yeah. And usually monster movies in particular end with that as the survivors.
They let the mom go and the kid. They do let.
Yeah, but they kill the dad.
They killed the fuck out of
the dad.
They actually should have killed. They probably should have killed the other 2 because that girl's not gonna grow up normal.
Oh,
she just watched her dad get eaten by a xenomorph.
Like she also got to watch a man lose his shit and try to shoot her and her mom and then get his head blown off in a cemetery, no less.
Jesus.
So she's seen the evils of humanity and seen her father torn apart by a spiky alien thing.
Yeah, the movie's got layers.
Yeah, this is some deep storytelling.
So the one thing that I noticed too is they're really building up the will they won't they between the 2 of them. She the whole time wants that dude. Like she's not hiding it at all.
Oh, she is like really upfront. Like she wants that D.
So much to the point where I was just like, it's a trap.
Like no, I was watching that in the theater. I was like teenager, I think, and I was like, dang, like she's really pushing hard.
Something bad is gonna happen to you, dude. Like they're gonna carry you somehow.
Well, maybe that was like subtext or something where it's like one of these people knows what movie they're in, and he's like, I can't take my pants off. Something bad's gonna happen. Like you don't understand. I got a bad feeling, Jenny.
They kill the fuck out of her too. Like
that's pretty cute. Like that was very Deep Blue Sea-esque. Where it comes out of left field and it's pretty satisfying. And I don't know which version you saw, if it was the extended cut.
I watched the unrated version a couple months ago, and then I watched just the regular version.
Okay, the extended version I think has she like splits in half.
Oh no shit!
Because the theatrical, she just gets pinned to the wall.
Yeah,
but then just for fun, they like put in an extra
Halloween. Yeah,
they just put in like an extra shot of just like like bottom half falls to the floor, and the guy's like watching it happen. It's great. It's cute.
Oh man,
because it's like, oh no, my love, and then it's like, like
oh. And then he loses it and starts shooting at the predator. Like that's.
I wanted that boy to die though.
He's actually dead, by the way.
In real life.
Yeah, he died in real life.
I don't mean it. I take it back.
Yeah, his character. Sorry. I get it. You want his character to die, but he
gets impaled from like the kidney through the heart.
He survives.
And he survives.
Incorrect. He should
No.
not. He should not survive.
That boy is dead.
Also, this movie does have. I don't think you've ever seen it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Rickety Cricket.
Okay.
Who is one of the funny? He's one of the funniest characters on that show. But he's the pizza guy. The pizza place owner.
Okay.
The manager.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. He's the weirdly prickish pizza guy. I think AVP 2 is only valuable if you're well versed in the source material.
Okay.
If you know and appreciate the movies that have come before, you will enjoy it.
What is this? AVP 2? What's that all about? Let's check it out.
No, AVP 2 Requiem.
Yeah. You try to watch it with your mom. She's gonna keep asking you questions the whole time. What's he doing? Yeah. What's that? What's that stuff on his arm? Oh, they definitely stole something from the X-Files. That blue stuff that he has. Yeah. He just like pours it over people, and they just melt down. That do you remember the bad guy from Mortal Kombat Annihilation? The terrifying guy. Brian Thompson, I want to say.
I think you're right. He's local. I should know this. Yes, I think you're right.
Washingtonian. He's like an alien in there, and he has that.
It is glorious.
Oh my
Father.
Don't. Nobody tell him that we're making fun of him. He's terrifying.
No, I like him. He's great.
But he has the exact same thing. Basically, you pour it, and then they just basically.
Well, I will counter that though.
Go ahead.
And I don't know my X-Files that well, but Predator 2 seemed like he had the same goo, but used for a different purpose.
I don't know if I didn't notice it. I don't remember any goo in the second one.
In the second one, he has blue goo that he uses to cauterize his wounds.
Okay, yes, he does have blue goo.
I'm sure the inspiration probably came from the blue goo from Predator 2, and that was
possible,
what,
yes.
94?
I don't know, man.
92?
X-Files was done a lot in Canada, so
okay.
There might be some overlapping.
I'll let you have it, but
it's fine. It's still fun.
Well. Also, like, small note, but worth pointing out, AVP 2 Requiem musically is very interesting because they do a very good job of paying homage to mostly music from Aliens, but there's also like some melodies from the original and Predator. The National Guard scene, which is again paying homage to the initial attack scene with the aliens and the Colonial Marines. You know, the ambush where they all get fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, that's like dream come true kind of stuff. It's not executed all that well, but just the idea of seeing guys roll up in Strikers and deal with aliens in the rain is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the music that plays is basically taken directly from Aliens.
I have to start paying attention to soundtracks.
And then they have the helmet cam footage directly from Aliens, and it's not meant to be an original movie. No. Like, if you're judging it on that basis, you're doing it wrong. Like, there's so many shots and throwaway things that are just paying homage to that which came before, and it's great. But the one thing that really hurts it, though, is like budgetary limitations. Like, the special effects aren't particularly good. Even the makeup effects, not particularly great.
I like some of the makeup effects. I think they do a good job of hiding it. It leaves enough up to the imagination. Like when you see the dad dead in the woods, you can see his like chest had burst, and you know what's happening, and it looks pretty good, but it's still kind of dark.
I'm more talking about like the puppets, I guess. Like, because actually this is something we should probably get into. Hierarchy of quality Predator costume, not movie, actual construction of the suit.
Predator 2.
I think is the best?
I think that Predator 2 is the best Predator costume. They spend a lot of time...
you see him the most.
You see him a lot in AVP and AVP 2. Big time. Predator's not as much, and... I mean, you do see them, but it's more like...
They're also radically different, too.
Yeah.
I think I put the original at the top, actually. Usually it's kind of a toss-up when you have the actor's actual eyes placed in the costume. A lot of monster costumes usually have animatronic eyes. Like Predator 2, I think, had that, except for certain shots at distance where I'm sure it was done for convenience.
You are right.
Because the first one, it was the actor's eyes, and it actually worked. Like usually that looks kind of weird.
I like that shot when one of the most famous lines, "Come on, give me
come on, I'm right here."
Where he's sitting there and like Predator's kind of crouched, and he's like kind of playing with the spike. He's like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do," and you can see him like Like, that's actually really, now that you mention it, like that.
The thing that worked with that design is it displayed intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It showed a lot of character. And, like, growing up watching Godzilla movies, that was what made all the difference. Is that if the body language lends itself to the character, then you have a performance, not just a guy stomping around in a rubber suit. And the same guy played the Predator in 1 and 2, but I feel like the face was just a little better in the first one. I like the ornamentation on the second one. It was obviously more detailed, and you could tell he was built more in the second one, and he had a lot more ornamentation on his face, like a lot more spines, a lot more protrusions. He almost had like beard type shit, but with spines, and his mandibles were much bigger and more, I don't know, more dramatic. And the close up when he wakes up, the motherfucker, that was pretty good. The eyes were a little distracting because they were colored kind of like, I think, like pinkish purple, whereas the first one was more green.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I haven't seen that. I've seen the first one a lot, but I haven't seen it in a while.
The vagina mouth thing is real, though.
I know,
especially in the second one.
It takes you out of it a little bit because you're just like, oh.
Well, because I think they comment on it in the second one too, and
pussy face. Yeah, he calls him pussy face.
Yeah, it's there. Like the first one, it wasn't. Second one, like. It's there. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's a little more gum action going on. Like, the first one had more teeth stuff. But...
I got kids here.
Yeah. hey. It's like, man cock, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, thrust cam, that's fine.
Put that mask on.
Put that mask back on. Jesus. Fuck. Why do we have the MPAA?
Can I bring up it's the funniest shot. It's so funny. Because it's the most obvious thing I've ever seen. So I think that him going, okay, back to the movie, she's like, you should come to the pool with me like old times.
Oh.
For some fucking reason.
Oh.
I don't know what they were doing before. But I'm like, if a hot girl is telling me that, I'm like, somebody's going to be there with a camera. They're going to strip me naked and throw me outside or something. Like,
yeah.
That's what happens next.
Something bad's going to happen.
And he's just like, no, I'll be there. And then she shows up. I still, like, when I was watching, I'm like, ex-boyfriend's going to show up, or boyfriend's going to show up, and this is just not going to go well. And then it is what happens.
Yes.
But she's just like, oh, I was going to wear a bathing suit, and then she drops trow.
Yeah. And she's get a camera shoved right up her ass.
Like, we get the shot coming up, and you see her. She's in great shape. And then
she's probably 35.
She goes to put on her pants. Like, we know that she's got her clothes off. We don't need to see it anymore.
Yeah.
And we know that she needs to
hastily
put her clothes
shimmy. Yeah.
The camera moves down with her ass as
it's like on a stabilization
as
rig.
She's going down. It just focuses on her ass. It's the cool. I laugh every time I see it.
That's great.
It's so funny.
I hadn't noticed that. I knew that they put the camera up her butt, but
it moves with her as she's.
See, I'm picturing the guy on the Steadicam rig, like, having his headset on, having the director be like, "Nah, you gotta do it again. We gotta do another take, Jim. Like,
get a second camera on."
It's like, you got bend those knees, bud. You got bend. I know leg day was yesterday, but come on, you got to show up ready.
We gotta take it again,
Jenny.
Jenny, we gotta take it again. But yeah, like, I've heard about it in other movies. I think maybe the Transformers.
It's called the male gaze. And it is a real thing.
I've heard about it. Heard it criticized in like the Transformers movies with Megan Fox.
Dude, the most amazing shot, transition rather, maybe I've ever seen is Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Mm-hmm. We cut from the moon landing to what's your face's butt walking up the stairs.
Is it the
looking like a set from a Meatloaf music video?
Really?
And she's got a stuffed bunny, and the camera's like
just straight up. This is like not tasteful. Like, this isn't.
No, this is not either. We went from the moon landing to a woman's butt.
The one in this one, like, it literally drops down so you can, like, you follow her butt the whole time, and there's no reason for it. It doesn't like you guys, you have to really know that she's got her pants off, and she's still like kind of taking her time, like after they're in the pool, like. And then when they see the xenomorph jump in the pool, she's still trying to put her shoes on. Like, oh, something jumped in there. No. I'm gone.
Yeah, no. You do the one-legged race, you know?
Your biggest pool fear just happened. There's a monster in the pool, and you're still trying to put your shoes... No, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole time it's a trap. They're gonna
something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen to him.
Well, what I wanted to see was like he shows up and she's like fully clothed, like has a hoodie on or something, and it's just like, oh, you didn't bring the pizza. Like, you misunderstood.
Oh,
it's like, last time you came and you brought pizza.
Yeah,
that's what I meant by old times. Man, this sucks.
This sucks.
And then he drives out into the mountains and they nuke his town.
He's just playing hard to get that whole time. Like he's just like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's very cavalier. He's very blasé about pretty much everything.
Like, I do like that they nuke the town. I think it would have been cooler. They had to. Were they setting up a sequel at the end with the gun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it was just for fun.
Okay.
I don't think they knew they were going to get a sequel, but if you're going to do the ending like that, you're not going to just end it flat.
Yeah.
Because there's really no reason to, because we don't even know really where the predators come from. Like, actually, that's the first movie we see their planet.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
That's
too.
the first movie we get to actually see where they come from. And I mean, that's the idea, is that the ending hints that we're aware of these things. Predator 2 did that too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's not like we're gonna be at war with them anytime soon or get rid of them all anytime soon.
I think we're gonna lose.
I mean, that's a movie that's probably gonna happen at some point. Like, instead of hunting, fighting, like war.
I feel like it would have been cooler to just like blow up the town with all of the people that we were invested in. Like,
I think that would have been a better ending, actually.
They might have done it, honestly.
I wouldn't doubt it, because that ending feels weird. Because it's not a happy ending.
No,
they get picked up by government troops and stuff. Like, and I'm sure there's fallout.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
but yeah, they're probably in captivity somewhere. Like, the little girl is probably in government custody. Like, but who knows? Maybe she'll be in the new Predator movie. No, she won't. But that's something that actually feels kind of like even the tone, like even the style, kind of parallels that of the Resident Evil movies. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
I just watched the. I watched it. I like the first one still.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of the ones in the middle. The Birds one sucked. I hated the Birds one.
That's like the third one?
The most recent one?
I just watched that too.
It's a lot of fun. It is. I enjoyed it.
It's amazing how the lore, like the franchise lore, that movie gives no fucks about people who have not seen those movies. Nope. So like, I skipped one of those movies. The one directly preceding that, I think, is the only one I haven't seen.
Was that Extinction?
I don't know. There are like 6 of those fucking movies.
Well, that's the joke about the game franchise too. Is just like the games are like The New Beginning Part 5 or something.
No, that's like Friday the 13th stuff. Resident Evil's numbers. Like, to me, if you're gonna make a franchise 7 or 8 entries long, you put that number in the title. You don't pussyfoot around and you put a subtitle. No, you put the number.
You put the number.
Thank God for the Fast and Furious movies.
Fast 8, yeah.
Yeah. Fast 8.
That's why I stopped watching. I watched like 5 minutes of the second one, and I couldn't understand what that guy was saying. The guy from the South, like I couldn't. His accent was just.
Was it Tyrese or someone else?
No. The second one is
or Luda?
No,
it better not be Luda.
No, Too Fast, Too Furious is like none of the original people. It's like
no. They got Paul Walker.
No. Paul Walker's not in the second one. It's a different white guy.
No. That's the third one.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, that's Paul Walker.
No. Tokyo Drift is one.
Tokyo Drift's the one with the other guy.
Yeah, that's the other guy.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what word he was saying.
Oh no, he's terrible. It was like,
my life is in a car. He's like Forrest Gump. Like,
no, my brother says that he's actually a pretty good actor, but he was not so good in that movie.
Don't get me started on
that movie's basically the Karate Kid, but with cars in Japan.
One other thing I wanted to touch on with AVP.
Yeah.
The violence, I feel like, is more Alien than Predator. You kind of get a couple of like Predator shots, like you get the hanging upside down skin, always great.
Yeah.
But I feel like you get more alien violence, where it's not as graphic.
Well, what I like about the Predator in that movie is, it's very clearly modeled after the Predator from the first one. His character is very deliberately laid out to the audience. Like it's communicated much more clearly than previous Predators. So like Predator 2, you can see me going insane, like trying to figure out what they were trying to do with him.
Yeah.
And trying to understand what his thought process is. This guy is like a spec ops guy or something.
Yeah.
Like he's on a special assignment.
He's QA, like not QA.
He's a cleaner.
He's a cleaner. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there to clean up a mess.
Yeah.
So he's there with a specific reason. He's there to basically scuttle everything, like scrap like any evidence that may have come about as to their existence, I guess, and to stop the alien disease or whatever you want to call it from spreading.
You gotta stop that shit.
So he's there for the aliens. People, he's there to kill witnesses. So we get a couple instances of him offing like hunters that see him, like people who aren't supposed to be there.
Come here. Are you from around? You live over here? You live alone? Anybody else in the house? I'm just wondering. I'm thinking I might move in. So it's just you in this house?
Yeah.
Are your neighbors? Do they work in the daytime?
Yeah, that's basically the extent of his interactions with the humans in that movie.
Yeah.
So the violence is very alien-centric because most of the violence visited upon people from the Predator, or by the Predator rather, is perpetrated upon aliens, not people.
This is true.
So of course the violence is going to be more alien-centric, so it's mostly like acid, and also remember where there's a queen present.
Yes, there is.
So we can't quite confirm that they're killing everyone. They may just be,
incubating.
Yes, they may just be, doing the thing where they like paste them up against the wall.
So one of the things that I noticed rewatching it was the pregnant lady who was like about to burst on the bed. She gets incubated by the queen, and then when she bursts, there's like 7 or 8 of them in there.
I think that was the point, was that they were trying to... That's actually kind of a clever workaround. It doesn't, logically it doesn't make sense.
No.
But that's a fun idea for increasing the number of aliens quickly.
Mm-hmm. That breed too, the APs. That was an AP in there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. They died so quickly, but
they died as they came quickly.
Yeah, no, they didn't get to contribute anything. But the idea was things are supposed to be reaching fever pitch, where it's like there's a reason they're gonna bomb the town.
Yeah,
because this has gotten out of control.
Fuck. My next pick is Predators.
Okay, so let's go with Predators then.
Violence is great. It's pretty great in that movie. Based off of one scene and one scene only. Walton Goggins, Stans was his name, who was a terrible person in that movie. An awful character. Like, he's not a good person. He gets the best, I think, Predator death, and I think maybe my top 10 favorite movie deaths. I forgot about seeing it. I let out an audible, oh shit! When
he gets yanked.
He gets spined like almost an eye roll from him. He's like, this motherfucker.
No joke. His body language did kind of have that.
He's like, this guy.
Fucking guy.
I heard you talking to that black guy. You are not a nice person. Just rips his spine right out. I was watching it with my brother. I watched it. I did watch it with my brother, I think.
Good
Predators.
way to watch it.
Oh, no, I watched it by myself because we had all the all the Predator movies.
Okay.
1, 2, AVP, all of it. So I was like, I'm gonna watch Predators, and I was like late at night. I'm like, oh shit! I completely forgot about that. It was such a good death. I thought it was.
It is.
I thought it was really good.
It's funny. I have very mixed feelings about Predators as a film.
It's not good.
No, I don't think it's particularly good.
I don't like. Sorry.
Excuse him. He's getting a beverage.
Getting water. I don't like what's his face, Adrian Brody in it. He's just doing a Clint Eastwood impression the whole time.
I don't mind him too much because I actually like the consistency of his character. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, we watched The Mummy, both of us, pretty recently. And one of the big flaws I noticed in that screenplay is that character is Tom Cruise's character in the new Mummy, 2017 Mummy. Is very obviously supposed to be kind of a nasty person. Mm-hmm. He's kind of supposed to be a prick. In fact, there's repetition of him being called a thief.
Okay.
It even plays into the climax of the film. He doesn't seem like that bad a guy throughout the movie. They just keep throwing that at him in an attempt to project that onto him. But his actual performance doesn't reflect that. And it's inconsistent and it's distracting. But Adrian Brody, I did like that he did some kind of scoundrel tactics. Like, he did some questionable shit in there. And he was pretty serious about abandoning them towards the end, too.
Isn't that kind of how Ving Rhames' character was in the Dawn of the Dead remake? He was just like, get the fuck out. Like, he was just like, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah, and I like that about Adrian Brody's character, because from beginning to end, it isn't really until the end that he actually completes his arc and, you know, becomes slightly more altruistic. Actually, he really only seems to care about the lady.
I was going to say, if it had just been him and Topher Grace, he would have shot him in the back of the head.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Easily.
But throughout the movie, you know, you say what you will about the voice and like the physicality element of it. Like, I did like that he told them right up front, like, hey, I'm not here. Yeah, I'm not here for you. I'm not here.
Yeah, he's almost doing Batman.
I kill those people.
He's almost
no, I kill those people.
Maybe that's what bothers me, because it's very, very close to Christian Bale's Batman.
But that's the other point, though, that comes to mind about that movie, and I wrote this down in my notes when I, like, right after I watched it. One of the things that really jumps out to me about Predators is it's like the most genial, friendly band of international killers you've ever met. Everybody's a buddy.
I think that Danny Trejo, if he was a cartel guy, he was supposed to be a cartel guy.
Yes.
He would have. I think that he just would have killed.
Well, not only is everyone really friendly and down with the idea of banding together, like everyone. Yeah. Like, everyone is down to hang out and group up. They all speak perfect English.
Yeah, who's the Russian with the giant head?
The Russian with the giant head.
The Russian with the giant head.
I mean, I didn't remember names for that movie.
It's probably Olaf or something.
Yeah, Dimitri.
It is Dimitri. That's exactly.
Yeah, it's probably Dimitri.
It is Dimitri. That's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 3 Russian names that every Hollywood movie has, but
yep.
Yeah, everybody's basically.
I can't pronounce the rest of them.
I'm fine with characterizations just based on like their aesthetics. Like, oh, he's obviously an African warlord or something. Oh, he's obviously a cartel guy. Oh, he was in prison. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. I actually kind of like that. But what's very distracting to me is that even Walton Goggins, the guy who's recently out of prison and is apparently a rapist and a murderer, is perfectly down to hang out with all of these guys.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And even at the end, the thing that really bugged me, we get 3 heroic sacrifices in a row.
Walton Goggins, I can tell you right now, stands. That character's not taking.
No, he's gonna take off.
He should have been gone. But
he would have got gone real quick.
But I think that's the mistake of writing or having him play that character, because he has incredible screen presence. He's so funny.
No, he's very endearing. You come to like him throughout the movie.
I liked him in Hateful Eight. He was really good in that.
I'm gonna do so much cocaine.
Oh, so much cocaine. There's so many fine bitches. Like, it's a horrible thing to say, but he still makes it very funny.
Yeah.
It's awful. And then Topher Grace just being him.
They used him well.
He
gets a comeuppance.
He's very unlikable by me.
Yeah, but that's the
point.
That's the point.
Like
he's not. You're not meant to like him.
It's like James Woods. You're not supposed to like him.
Yeah. That would have been great. James Woods in a Predator.
Oh, would you shut up? Just shut.
Well, see, that would have been great.
Talking.
What you do is you have like all the people come down in their parachutes, and then there's just one guy that's like got the chute on him, and then the big reveal, it's like, that's James Woods. It's like, it's actually James Woods.
Just being sarcastic and smoking, even though that would give away their position. If they're,
like, what do you want? What?
Huh, I got to smoke. What? You think he's gonna catch us with a cigarette? Cigarette? No.
Then he's like your first kill.
Kill him quick.
Where just like he gets sliced in half in front of everybody, and it's like, oh shit!
I did.
They're killing movie stars out here.
I did like the one little scene where they're trying to. It's kind of funny. The Predators are trying to lure them with Danny Trejo. He's like, hey, over here, help me. I'm like, it was kind of creepy, and I'm like, it's good, but then he's just like, no, it's a trap.
no, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
No.
And then as she's walking away, he's like, help me. I'm like, ooh, that was good. It was a nice little moment.
That was good. And,
I like that.
And I liked that they walked away, too.
I don't know how you're going to feel about this. I very, very, very much disliked all the other creatures that they tried to introduce in that movie.
The dogs.
I hated that.
The dogs. Like, I hear they're in the new Predator.
Oh, God.
Not those dogs specifically, but the concept of hunting with hounds. What... they do a good job in the script in Predators of explaining it. He's like Adrian Brody's like, they're trying to flush us out. It's what I would have done. It's what I would have done. He's like, how do you know that? It's what I would have done. Okay, man.
Yeah, we get it. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work like that. You flush them out and then you kill them. But the way they did it with the dogs in that movie is very strange because they send the dogs out, then you hear the whistle, and then they leave.
Yeah,
like they just call them back. It's like you lost like 2 or 3 of your dogs.
Yeah,
and really the only reason I can. The only way the math adds up in my head, like from a screenwriting standpoint, is that we have all these characters with guns. We only have X number of predators, and we want them to look. We want to book them to look strong in wrestling parlance.
Yeah.
And the only way we can do that is by making them formidable in every encounter these characters have with them. So in the meantime, we have all these guys with guns, and they need something to do with those guns. So we need to give them something to shoot.
Correct.
So we need to give them a lesser thing that isn't a predator that we can afford to make look less than threatening. Because those dogs didn't kill anyone. Mm. In fact, they were made to look kind of sloppy and boring. And yeah, it's just I think it's just an excuse for an early action scene that doesn't take away from the menace of the predator.
Well, we've reintroduced that machine gun from the first Predator.
Yeah,
the machine
old
gun
painless
from Terminator 2, where he just oh man, don't step.
It's glorious. Brings a tear to your eye.
But yeah, that dude's carrying around. That is a nightmare because they are like walking through the jungle in the first movie and in Predators. Yeah. That thing has to weigh 100 pounds.
Well, think of the bullets.
Yeah.
Think of that has a car battery attached to it. Jesse Ventura is a big guy, but he wasn't happy about. Like, you wonder why he's surly? Because he's carrying that piece of shit.
I mean, in that first movie, they're supposed to be like, yeah, they're supposed to be moving quick.
Oh yeah, there's that scene where they're like sliding down the hill. He wasn't doing that.
Mac threatens to kill
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers because he's like, hey. You give up our position, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, you're making too much noise.
One more time, I'm gonna bleed you. Real
quiet. Yeah, no, he's good. He's
oh no, like Bill Duke or whatever?
Yeah,
Bill Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Green Beret's gonna kick your ass. I eat Green Berets for breakfast. Punch.
Yeah, I was totally let down. I thought that as a kid, when you grow up, because I'd watched too many Arnold movies, that as an adult, you were able to knock people out with one punch.
Oh yeah.
Come to find out, that's not what happens when you become an adult.
No, I mean, you watch enough Arnold movies,
it gets in your head.
Yeah, it puts certain things in your head that maybe aren't terribly true.
Blondes. Total Recall, you'll get it.
Oh.
So yeah, I like that one death a lot, just the Walton Goggins death, and I think that makes it better than AVP. And I think that's really it. Like the Lawrence Fishburne part, I don't know how I feel about it really.
I actually kind of like his performance.
His performance is good.
He has that look in his eyes that I like that he
can switch.
Yeah, he's not looking at anyone in particular in the room, but he's also looking at everything.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor,
yeah,
and he did well. He didn't take it easy. What I don't like is his end. I hate the way he dies in that movie.
He explodes.
Yeah, but think of the lead up to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's explained that he's been there for a while, and he seems it, and he's a hoarder. He's in it for himself. He doesn't care about the rest of those people. I get that. That puts him on the shit list of the viewer.
Yeah.
So the viewer expects him to have a comeuppance of some sort, because he tried to kill them.
Oh yeah.
By smoking them out or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have this character has this antagonistic relationship with the Predators. What I wanted to see was that to play on both sides. I wanted to see the Predators be like, that motherfucker.
I've been looking for you for a while.
Yeah, it's like, we've been waiting for you to come out of your hole for ages. But instead, he just like takes a wrong turn and gets blown up.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to kill the fuck out of
you. It needed to be special in some way, because from their standpoint, he would be special.
He does also, he extends the Predator-verse by explaining the different sizes. He's like, there's bigger ones and smaller ones, and there's like rivalries within.
The lore really, that's like the movie's biggest contribution, and it's a little controversial. Like, I still don't know how I feel about the concept of, like, tribal warfare among the predators.
Well, we're never explained. We're never sure why that they're even there. We get it. They're there to be hunted by them, but why?
Yeah, I mean, it's some sort of intergalactic game preserve. That's made very clear. But the one predator being there, I don't know if that was hazing, or, like, is he a war criminal, or is he just, like...
He might be one of the weird ones. He might be one of the dudes that was hanging out with Homeboy and Predator too. Like, he might have been around with him, like his little buddy.
Well, that's the thing. That's very hard to decipher. Is, like, part of me wants to say he's just from a different tribe. Well, it could just be that there's a hierarchy, like a caste system, where it's like... We're the dark-skinned predators that are a foot taller than the others, therefore we're in charge. And he's one of the small guys, so he's forever going to be beneath us.
Well, they went off. So that was the reason why they have that one predator up there.
Yeah.
Is because in the first AVP we learned that it's more important to the predator to kill the aliens than it is humans, because that's what he was there for.
Yeah.
So they actually teams up with
he wants to go home. Like, he wants out. But...
So we know up until this point that they are willing to work with humans. So you have to go into watching Predators with that assumption that he would have to kind of know that, I think. He would have to know that he would be like, he's talking to him, like he has to assume that he speaks English.
No.
And he's like, "Hey man, I want out of here, and you're gonna get me out of here," basically.
Yeah.
And that was. Did they make a deal? I feel like he kind of did, but he dies.
Well, they understood each other. Like, he, like, through gesticulation and stuff, Adrian Brody conveyed the information that he was intending to, and the Predator, like, set up the ship, and he was just like, "There's your ticket." But the Predator didn't immediately make a move for the ship.
No.
So it stands to reason that despite being, like, crucified for how God knows how long, his priority is still pride, basically.
Revenge.
Yeah, pride, revenge, something along those lines. So it's a little muddled. Not entirely sure about that whole angle, but they were trying something new. I don't particularly like the new designs, like for the larger predators. The masks.
I do not like the masks.
Yeah, the masks.
I hate the masks.
The heads are too big. The masks don't look particularly good.
They look stupid. Wasn't the one have like a gold mouth? Like
it has like tusks.
Yeah,
it's like bone tusks or something that are mounted on like an obsidian mask, and then the one has like a more. It looks like Shredder kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
yeah.
It kind of looks like Shredder.
He's the one that has the drone that they use once, and the dogs that they use once. Clearly, that was maybe a first draft thing that got scrapped because they use a drone to do some recon. Never shows up again. The dogs are shown during the big reveal of all the predators. They don't use them again. Gotcha. And I think he was the one that got killed by the Yakuza guy, and that is a scene.
Yakuza guy. I liked him. I liked his character. I liked him.
Okay.
I like the finger thing. I like how he's.
I talk too much.
That
was cute.
I like
no,
that.
That was a nice little detail that I did like.
And now that I've seen Ichi the Killer, I understand more about Yakuza.
Yeah, Ichi the Killer. That'll teach you a thing or two about culture.
Yeah, Jesus.
I did like him as a character. I think he got to be in the Bourne Legacy like a few years later, maybe like the same year as the villain again.
Oh, really?
Again, mostly mute. He wasn't good in it. That movie sucks. But he gets killed by Rachel Weisz on a motorcycle.
I feel like I've seen one of those movies, but I don't know.
I like those movies. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about that whole katana fight. It bugs me. It's one of those things that I get it. It's like the example I always use is Vin Diesel and The Rock. When you make Fast and Furious 5, and you have those two components in your cast,
the two biggest arms in Hollywood.
Yeah. If you do not slam those two guys together, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's like monster trucks in human form. It's what you do. If you have those components in your toolbox, you use them like that.
So you're saying that
if you have a Japanese guy that gets a katana,
and you have a
predator with a bladed instrument, and a grassy field,
So it'd be like Wolverine fighting Samurai kind of deal. Like,
yes.
Okay.
It's like if you have these things, you're obligated to use them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, especially in a Hollywood movie, it's like, oh, it's a Japanese guy. What do the Walmart people of the world know about Japanese people? Oh, they got curved swords
and chopsticks.
Yeah. Yeah, they have chopsticks and curved blades.
Yeah.
And they die honorably. Honorably.
He's half Japanese. I can't do the voice.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's racist if I do it. He's allowed to do it.
Yeah, I'm allowed. But yeah, I mean, that plays into my other complaint that I mentioned earlier. It's just the number of heroic sacrifices in a movie about the scum of the earth.
Scumbags, yeah.
These people like throw themselves numerous times onto the sword, where Oleg or whatever the fuck the Russian
Dmitry Olaf.
Vitaly Olaf, whatever the fuck.
They're all Dmitry.
He dies saving Topher Grace. He blows himself up.
Yeah. Oh God.
Walton Goggins dies stabbing the thing so the other people can get away.
I think he was trying to help save the black guy, which is nice. But you never see them like have a heart to heart, do you? Like they never have like that. He does because the black dude saves him at one point. I think he.
Well, hang on, which black guy are you talking about?
The big. Remember at the very beginning, he's got like.
No, I'm talking about way later in the movie.
No. I'm saying is like we didn't have that moment of like why would Walton Goggins do that?
Oh yeah.
I think there was a scene where the black guy like helped him out or saved him or something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean we're introduced to them grappling with each other, and they decide not to kill each other after. They're perfectly cool with each other after that.
Is he racist? I think the assumption is that Goggins is pretty racist because it's a white dude in a prison outfit with a knife.
It's safe to assume.
I don't know if anything's actually said. Plus, I did see Hateful Eight, and he's kind of racist in that.
I mean, African guy though, like it's like really you have any feelings on African people?
Jeez.
But fun fact: the quote unquote black guy that was Mahershala Ali.
I've seen him. I've seen him from something else, but I can't.
I think he won an Oscar for Moonlight.
Was that him? Oh.
Yeah, he became something.
I'm a terrible person. I've never seen Moonlight. I haven't.
For shame.
Yeah,
I haven't either. But point is, he's like slowly becoming a household name now. Gotcha. But he's one of the early kills in Predators. And the way he dies is questionable because I don't even know what the fuck happened. He's the sacrifice bunt. Adrian Brody, they find the Predator encampment and they find the strung up Predator.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody disappears, and then the other Predators attack.
Oh, I forgot about.
And then what initiates the attack is some spears come up from the ground like a trap, and impale Mahershala Ali from like multiple angles. But I really can't explain how that happened.
Now I know what you were saying about Adrian Brody being kind of a piece of shit. Because
and he pops out from behind cover and starts spraying.
Oh, what's going on over here?
Yeah, guys? he starts shooting. Because he was trying to draw them out, which is kind of cool because that is actually, that's not very altruistic, but I mean, if you're just trying to find the enemy and kill him, okay.
So, me disliking Topher Grace aside, so he's basically just a serial killer.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he touches the one flower, he's just like, oh no, it's poisonous.
Yeah.
And I know that for some reason. This is an alien planet, and I know about the plants on here besides that. But he has it on his little scalpel.
Yeah.
And then it just, at the end, it's him and the lady that are left, and he's just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna.
Well, he's isolated with her.
But they're in a,
it's like a pit.
They're in a pit,
yeah.
But he's just like, is his motivation we're probably gonna die soon, so I'm just gonna take care of business real quick, or because they're trying to survive still, there's still a chance, and he's just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this now. I just didn't see the reason in doing it.
It did seem weird. What would have been? See, I don't know how to write around that actually, because from a writing standpoint, I get the necessity of that reveal because it loses all its impact if you hint at it too early. So they kept it in reserve until that moment. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that was because it's Topher Grace. He's this unassuming, dorky guy. That him turning batshit crazy evil at the very end is going to have some sort of impact. Mm-hmm. And put too much into that, actually. Because what I think would have made more sense is to do what people naturally do, and there would be dissidents. They wouldn't all group up.
Yeah.
Like you'd have splinters, you'd have factions, you'd have one guy wander off on his own, you'd have one group splinter off from the main group. There'd be that classic scene where people in the group butt heads.
Yeah.
Where they even had in Aliens vs Predator Requiem, where it's like, we need to go to the hospital to get the helicopter, and the sheriff guy says, no, we need to go to the rendezvous with the government guys.
And she's like, if we do that, then everybody's gonna die or whatever. Yeah.
And that's the moment we didn't get in Predators.
No.
And I don't know, like I feel like the way you would have made that reveal make more sense, it would have lessened the impact. But the way you make it more sense is that you show that he has impulse control issues. Mm-hmm. Like maybe when he's alone or something, he's talking to himself, or like when he's with her, like you can tell he's nervous around her in particular.
He doesn't,
but he's normal.
Like, he lies at the very beginning. I noticed it.
Yeah. And then
like, cut yourself down, and then he uses the scalpel, and someone kind of looks at it like, I think it's Dimitri. He's just like,
but Dimitri, he played Dimitri, like he took him as his human shield.
Yeah,
but
he's got a giant head.
But then he stole Dimitri's family photo and tried to use it for sympathy points.
Yeah.
So it's shown that he's manipulative, but he's also helpless and unarmed for the most part.
I guess it's enough of a red flag that you're paying attention to it. You're like, this guy's a little off. Like, what's his deal? And you know that everybody else is either a criminal or a mercenary or something. Or isn't the lady CIA or something? I can't remember what she.
I don't remember her story.
I don't remember her deal.
I think she was like CIA though, because she knew about Arnold. Like she knew about him. Yes. So yeah, I think she was like a spook of some sort.
But yeah, I feel like the Topher Grace thing was stupid. He did have a pretty. It was kind of brutal. It was subtle but brutal because he's like kind of dying and he's just like and the Predator just like an animal you're putting out of its misery. He just like stabs him in the back, like straight through the lungs.
It doesn't kill him though.
He's just like,
you get to hear some sputters.
But yeah, like it's. You remember Zodiac? Did you see the?
I did.
The two people at the lake.
Yeah.
It's like he's like you have that stab. Like it's fucking brutal because you're actually seeing it, and it's kind of like that where it's just real subtle and real quick, but it's just like the impact. Like, oh fuck, that really hurt.
Yeah, and then he turns him over and he explodes, which I'm not a big fan of explosion deaths, especially when it comes to spike killing. Like
on the professional. Sorry.
To me, explosions don't have as much emotional resonance. So if you have a character like that the audience is intended to hate, you can't blow them up because it's impersonal.
You need them to suffer a little bit.
Well,
you can't savor the little details.
Yes, exactly. No, it's fine because all the things that came before that. Like, actually, like, say what you will about the Batman voice, Adrian Brody whispering like a snake, like, I'm fast. That was pretty fucking cool.
I'm fast.
When he stabs him in the mouth.
That was okay.
That was pretty fucking cool.
I like a good mouth stab.
Yeah. A non-fatal mouth stab.
That's actually a really funny death in Punisher.
The Tom Jane Punisher.
Oh! And then he gets him in the jaw.
Dude, I wrote an entire article about that 5-second sequence.
Oh my goodness!
Like 1,000 words just about.
It's so funny.
From a logistical standpoint, that sequence is hilarious.
It is, and. Doesn't he blow up the other son? He's like, you killed my sons.
Both of them.
There's a funny. I know you don't watch the show. Anybody listening to this, watch Archer. It's a great show. But he's infiltrated the Irish mob. Like he basically has to hunt down the Irish mob, and they're not cooperating. So what he's done is he's handcuffed one guy, and he's put a bomb up his ass.
Oh, man on fire style.
Just enough so that if he tries to release, it'll blow up. And she's like, really, you had to do that? And he's like, oh no, it's just a smoke bomb. And the guy's like, oh. It blows up, and he's like, oh, maybe it was an actual bomb.
Oh no.
But I had that in my head when I was watching Punisher not too long ago. I'm like, I wonder if I can't remember what he does to him. I think he puts a bomb somewhere on him. But
he gives him a whole spiel about isometrics.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you look like a strong kid. You ever done isotonics or isometrics or whatever? He's like, hey, a small weight, you know, you hold it up though, hell of a workout. And yeah, it's like he's like pinned by like a bookshelf, and he puts a bomb on a cord that's suspended from the ceiling. So if he drops his arm, it'll pull the trigger.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that would have been hella funny though. If like he's like trying to look all cool in front of John Travolta, and then like explosion, he's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Whoa!"
He's like holding his ears. Like,
he's like,
man,
"Totally didn't mean to do that."
That was supposed to be a little bit longer.
More like, I wanted him to live.
Like, he was supposed to sit around for a little while.
He's like, yeah, somebody had to tell the story. Shit. So AVP. You say that's the bottom of the barrel?
I hate it.
I agree.
Absolutely I've heard it criticized before for the lack of violence. There's no blood, I think. I don't think you see hardly any blood.
Even the supposed director's cut or extended cut, it's tame. Nothing really there.
I think it
was PG-13.
I like the idea. I kind of like the idea of... I think it's hard to match those two franchises together because they're completely different. But I think it's kind of an interesting idea where they're like, oh yeah, they come down here and they hunt these things. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun. I get what you're coming... Like, that's a way that you can kind of mash them together.
Well, and the idea of a ritual being what is the instrument that brings everything together, it writes off the whole, like, wait, don't they spread? Like, if you make it a ritual in an isolated location, that's like, okay, this makes some sense, that this can be repeated with, you know.
But are they trying to say also, like, this has been happening for, like, millions of years, and these guys are older than...
Yeah, they show that it happens in, like, ancient times. Yeah. And Predator 2 touched on that, too, because when Danny Glover kills the Predator and that, he gets the
Ben Franklin gun.
Yeah, the Ben Franklin. Yeah, it has, like, some, like, 1500s or 1200s date on it. Yeah, it's like 1500 or 1700 or something.
It's crazy old.
And it's a black powder pistol. Yeah. It's a flintlock.
Yeah.
And so that whole point in that movie in the early 90s was just to point out, oh, they've been doing this a while. Yeah. And AVP says they've been doing it a long while. Mm-hmm. And potentially... The thing that gets kind of stupid is when they, like, start to make the Predators out to be like the equivalent of like the Egyptian gods, where it's like, they taught us how to build pyramids and we worshipped them. It's like, okay, now we're tying things together too tightly.
If you were to like read the script and like whoever wrote this was like just smoking weed constantly, because it just...
I think Paul W.S. Anderson may have had a hand in writing it. He's big on his high concept action movies. It's too smart to the point that it becomes dumb.
I think it would be a watchable movie, but like the only reason why I'm rewatching like the Predator movies and stuff like that is I like the makeup effects. And I like to see like the gore. I want, like, that's what I'm here for. For like some cool kills. I want to see.
Don't get none of those.
I want to see people mangled. Like,
you don't get none of that.
You don't get it.
You don't get none of that in AVP, and I would argue you get potentially the worst Predator costumes in the entire history of the franchise.
Yeah, it looks like shit. Does that maybe have to do with the fact that they are... this is a cold climate. Now, Predator, at least in the first two movies, has been in very warm climates.
Yeah, it's actually spoken at least once or twice in the first one when it gets hot.
And in Predators. That planet seems to be subtropical.
It's tropical,
yeah,
at least.
It looks tropical.
Yeah, so... you know, the lore. I've read some of the comics and played some of these games, so I know they're called Yautja.
Yautja.
That's the name of the species.
Wow.
They're known to favor high temperature.
Okay. Are they mammals? Because they seem to have the same endoskeleton as humans.
I don't know that much.
They have a different head. They have the same number of digits.
They have mandibles and. They have what appears to be reptilian skin.
They have opposable thumbs because every time the Predator takes off his mask, he has to very lightly just put his entire hand, both hands over the front, and slowly pull it off.
Yeah, and he has his perfectly manicured fingernails that go tink.
You do it one time in the first one, deservedly, because that is when we have...
That is a grand ass reveal.
They could not have shown him in the trailer, did they? Did they show...
I don't think so. I think it was just really dramatic narration and just Arnold and guns.
I could not imagine being in there like opening weekend, like there's this new Arnold movie, Predator, and you get the reveal of him, you're like, holy shit, that is one of the coolest creature designs ever.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but you see him standing opposite Arnold, and he's a head taller than him.
Well, the dude that plays him's like 7.
Yeah, Kevin Peter Hall.
How tall is he?
He's like 7 foot, maybe plus.
And he was like not even like just like like super skinny. Like he's actually like a pretty big guy. I think.
But the one shot that always stands out at me is when he does the predator pose, the spread armed, and there's one shot from the side that looks like Mortal Kombat or something, where he's hunched over and he's still bigger than Arnold, and his wingspan is just like this.
I do love that pose.
That's why it was kind of nice to see it with King Willie in the second one, because it's like. It's iconic now. It's like when the Predator's ready to have a ritualistic like one-on-one with somebody, barehanded or whatever.
Which they love to do.
They're all about that. They're like gypsies or the Romani or whatever. All about that street fighting. But yeah, AVP, the design of the Predators. I remember the hype train was very strong for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I had HBO at the time, and they had like a featurette, and they said that they made a conscious decision to bulk up the Predators, like make them larger.
Well, because I think they have to be bigger than the Xenomorphs. They have to be.
Yeah, but you need to consider logistics. Like, in general, the lighting in the film is a problem.
Oh God,
it's very bright. It's very flat.
Oh, I blame Scream. I still blame Scream for this.
It's kind of a hideous movie at times to look at it. The special effects work is good. Like the CG for the Alien Queen holds up.
Yeah, actually, the one scene I do like is when she gets wrapped up by the chain and she gets taken. I like that shot.
That whole sequence at the end in the fishing village is. I mean, it feels like Jurassic Park or something, but it's a fun little monster fight. Mm-hmm. Most of the other alien effects are kind of garbage. But yeah, the Predator suits are too bulky. You can tell that they're not fun to move around in. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like we were just talking about, the actor, like not stuntman, actor. Yeah. He gave a performance. He had a grace in the way he moved. It's very deliberate, like the way he laid his hands on his mask. The guys in the Predator movies, one of them has had a great career as a stuntman / man in costume. Mm-hmm. I forget his name, but I used to watch him on a website called Channel 101.
Not as successful as Doug Jones.
Not as successful, but like he's getting there, man. He's been Jason Voorhees, a Predator. He's done mocap for a couple of the Resident Evil movies. He's done some stuff.
He's done some stuff. But Doug Jones has done everything.
Yeah, he has. He's a silver fucking surfer.
He's the weird thing from Legion. Oh my God, I rewatched that.
Yeah, the Ice Cream Man.
Dude, that movie is awful. It is terrible. It's so weird. Don't get me started.
You saw that in the theater too, right?
No.
Okay, I did.
No, I seen it.
I went to that movie on the strength of the old lady in the trailer saying, "You're all gonna fucking die."
Yeah. It looked like it was gonna be kind of cool, but it sucks.
No, it's very lame. It's one of those movies that you can tell it was like some script that someone wrote when they were like 13. Yeah, and they're like maybe raised in a religious household.
Yeah, that's what kind of interested me in it. I think at the time I enjoyed how would you put it, like movies that kind of mess with religion. Like Prometheus is kind of like Prometheus. To get back on Alien, surprise Alien movie. They completely are like, no, religion is completely false. We made you, basically. We're the architects.
Well, yeah, and Ridley Scott is obsessed with that as a topic. Like he touches that in like so many of his films, and they very purposely added the main character's like religious bent.
I love Prometheus. Just on a side note,
I despise Prometheus. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a talk for another day, though. But
anyway,
AVP, the Predators, the design of them, I fundamentally dislike, except for the main one because it's essentially a copy of the original Predator.
Yeah.
And the thing that drives me nuts about this movie in particular is these Predators are incompetent. There are 3 of them. 2 of them are killed by the same alien drone within 3 minutes of each other. One alien for 2 Predators, and
that's supposed to happen. They were taking on mountains of they were up on top of the pyramids, like blasting.
In the defense of the screenwriters, and I can't push this point too hard because they're right. These these predators are having their bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
Like these predators are having their they're growing into adulthood celebration.
Yeah.
So they came in with their yarmulkes and they're looking for the Torah.
They're
there for their plasma casters and the Torah.
They're young.
Baruch Ata Adonai Elohim. Motherfucker. But the idea is these are predators who have not quite ascended to like hunter status.
Yeah.
So the idea of them
sense.
being less than stellar at what they do makes some sense.
But
two of them, like one drone for two of them, and we have an entire hive of these fucking things.
This is like them being dropped into the wilderness with a pocket knife and like, here, go survive, go figure it out.
Yeah, but it's like there's an expectation that both franchises will be honored. Both franchises will. That's the key to any versus movie. Is if you have King Kong versus Godzilla, you got to make King Kong look good, and you got to make Godzilla look.
See, they thought they could do the fan service just by having Waylon be Bishop from Aliens.
Well, and the remaining Predator is displayed to be like amazing. Like he does some crazy shit where he catches a chest burster in midair and snaps his neck. That's cute. That is kind of.
He shakes his head. He's just like,
yeah, that's cute, but it's kind of weird that he's like that many levels ahead of the other two. And the other two happen to be the ones that have the more unique designs. And anytime you have something new, you want to see it do something cool, and you didn't get to see him do anything cool. It died too fast.
Another thing about AVP is that it feels like a set. Like the first movie does not. You're in the jungle. The second one is on location, but it feels like you're in LA.
Yeah, they balance it pretty well in the second one. There's a lot of sound stages, like the meatpacking plant and the Colombian drug lord's apartment loft. But you get enough street scenes and stuff where it feels like a lived-in city. It
feels real. This one, like, so something that bothers me is when I can't smoke pot and watch movies because this weird thing happens where if I smoke too much pot, I can't watch the movie. I see people acting. I don't see somebody playing a character. I see somebody I don't see the character. I see somebody playing a character, which was the problem I had with Blade Runner 2049 with Jared Leto. But that's how it kind of felt with AVP. It's just like, it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like a set.
Oh, yeah. No, but that whole pyramid set, the combination of the lighting and the design of it, it's ambitious, and I like that, but at the same time,
feels artificial.
It feels very artificial. Yeah. It feels like I'm watching Nickelodeon Guts.
Yeah.
And they're climbing the aggro crag.
I was actually going to mention...
And the British lady's talking about actuators and Michael Malley.
We'll probably have to do... We'll have to do an episode probably... I think we might just have to do a few franchises. I think we should do the Batman franchise. One thing I wanted to mention about that was something when I was watching it. I didn't realize, because I've seen this movie so many times, I didn't pay attention to this, that Schumacher was, I think, trying to, in what I noticed in Batman and Robin, pay homage to the TV series, because if you look at Mr. Freeze's lair, it just looks like a better built set from that TV show.
Well, I mean, I think Schumacher's background was in costumes and production design, and I think Paul W.S. Anderson, same thing.
Well, you just see the big ladder, and there's just a big button that opens up to where his wife is. She's dead.
Yeah.
There's no oxygen. She doesn't have.
She's in a tube.
She's in a tube.
You have your wife in a tube, sir.
She doesn't have any kind of breathing apparatus on. She's just a woman. She's a woman who's drowned in water, just floating. Like, she's dead.
Yeah, she's very dead. But I mean, like the sets in that movie, you can practically see, like, almost that it was like built on a rotating stage.
It probably was, honestly.
Like, I mean, that early action scene when they're doing the ice skating and stuff.
Oh gosh,
fighting the hockey guys, like that feels like a rotating set.
It's Batman, and if you're going to be paying homage to the series, that's what the sets look like. If you look at like the Riddler set in there, it's just like that.
Oh
just
yeah,
less
I mean
stuff.
that. We'll get into Schumacher someday.
Yeah.
But Camp is the name.
Okay.
That's the name of the game that gets thrown around whenever you're talking that particular brand of Batman. But
anyway, yeah, that's what I think that's my big thing. Because lighting is another thing that bothers me in movies, which is why I don't think Scream holds up as well for me, because
it's the flattest lighting you'll ever see.
I hate the lighting.
Super bright. Like, I love the outdoors scenes at night where it's like, do we have like floodlights in this neighborhood, or what the fuck?
You can actually see it in Fast and the Furious. You can see that they're on like an actual LA highway or expressway, and you can see those giant lights that they have on production. You can see the giant light lighting up the street.
The late 90s and early 2000s were maybe the ugliest era of film that I've been around for.
Well, I mentioned this. I was talking to a couple of buddies about Scream, and I'm like, I don't really like rewatching it because, like, even as a kid, I'm like, it's just too well lit. And they're like, but that's what makes it scarier, is because it feels like it's really happening. I'm like, no.
My house didn't look like that.
Watch Strangers. If you want to see like like lighting and like looks like it's actually happening, watch that movie.
Yeah,
that'll scare the shit out of you.
It's naturalistic lighting versus just flat, overlit, just garbage.
But no, when we mentioned that, so this movie is extremely bright. It's supposed to be filmed in, I'm gonna say Antarctica, I can't remember. So snow, if you have that kind of atmosphere, it's gonna be bright.
Yeah.
But one of the criticisms that I've heard, and I had with AVP 2, especially when you first saw it, what's the first thing that you can think of when you thought about that movie was it was hard to see.
Oh yeah, it's muddy, it's dark.
It's really hard to see, and like I said, I don't think you ever really get to see AP. Like, you don't ever get to really see the face. You get the idea of what's going on, but
you do, but most of it's in the rain at the end, and
it's hard to, like, it's so quick and it's so dark during those scenes that you don't really get a good shot.
Yeah, I think that's a necessity though. That's how you make puppets look good.
And also, the one of the designs, one of the problems I have with the design, his head is enormous.
It's gigantic.
It's the biggest head. Like, it's impossible for this thing to walk around.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why you shoot him that way, is because I'm sure the guy in the suit was miserable. And you ask him to do stunt work wearing that thing, he's gonna be sore in the morning.
So, I mean, where would you, like, my rankings were Predator, Predator 2, AVP 2, Predators, and then AVP. Would you agree or disagree? Would you say... I know you're probably not going to disagree on the first one.
Yeah, no. Predator is...
Yeah.
Predator's the best. Like, there's... Even with this new one that's coming out soon, I seriously doubt it has a chance of standing up to the first Predator.
No, there's no way.
But... I don't know. 2 is fine. But that's all I can give it. Like, it's not...
I think it's a fun movie.
It can be fun. It's fun in kind of almost that like campy sort of way. It's winking at you the whole time. Yeah. And the first one didn't have that so much.
It also sets up, and this was actually a debate my brother had for a couple of years. He noticed the xenomorph skull in the background, and I'm like, that wasn't the xenomorph skull. He's like, yes, it was. I'm like, no, it was not.
No,
it's not a thing. Why would they ever put those two franchises together? It's impossible. So when he told me that, hey, bitch,
as your brother would do,
there's an AVP movie coming out, and I'm like, no, there's not. And then I read about it. I'm like, oh, there's an AVP movie coming out. I'm like, he was right. That little bastard was right the whole time.
I mean, I mentioned this earlier that the build to the Aliens vs. Predator franchise like began with the comics, and I think the movie pushed that just a little bit further. I don't know the timeline, but Jason Goes to Hell had the stinger at the end of the movie where Freddy's hand comes out and grabs Jason's mask. Yeah. So somebody had the same idea. But yeah, the Aliens vs. Predator franchise kicked off with the comics, and then very shortly thereafter they started making computer games and an arcade game, which I will say is one of the best arcade games I've ever fucking played.
Really?
It's fucking great. So yeah, by the time like the 2000s roll along, Aliens vs. Predator has been a thing outside of movies for quite a while. Yeah. So like the build to that movie it took forever to gain momentum, and securing securing the rights to the characters actually wasn't the problem. I don't really know what was. I think it was the fact that both franchises were pretty stalled throughout the 90s.
Yeah, because Predator 2 was like 92-ish, 92. It was early 90s.
It was between 92 and 94. And Alien 3 happened around that time, and that didn't do well as far as I know.
91.
It either didn't do well, or the producers were not happy with it. The director was not happy with it. The Resurrection, I know, didn't really do well either with critics or audiences.
I like all those movies.
I like it. I think there's a lot of value to it. But yeah, you need to remember that both of those franchises were kind of dead in the water throughout the entire 90s.
What had more hype? I think Freddy versus Jason had more hype than AVP.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of it, it may have come out before too.
I think it.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was very similar.
It was mid 2000s because they're both really well.
Put it this way: a former Destiny's Child person was in the cast, so there you go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think it was more enthusiastic because of what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking slasher crossover film.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how hard it is to fuck that up? Like,
they did it. But
hey, I kind of enjoy that movie. Whereas like Aliens and Predator, like you mentioned, they're very different franchises.
See, I've seen the first Friday the 13th, and I've seen Jason X. Jason X looks like a porn parody, and almost is.
Yeah.
Oh, it nearly is.
Oh, yeah. No, the combination of the soundtrack and the lighting and the performances,
yes,
it really does feel like it's on Cinemax.
You take the sex scene from Predator 2 and you throw it into Jason X, you have a porno. Like, it's...
Oh, yeah. Except for that scene is like head and shoulders better than like any of the production values in Jason X.
Oh man, Jason X is awful.
I still derive enjoyment.
I enjoyed watching it, but it's pretty terrible. Did you have anything else to say about AVP?
There's not a whole lot to say other than it rubs me the wrong way because it's PG-13. It's tame as all hell.
How do you have the PG-13 Predator movie? Yeah, you can't have either one of those franchises.
You
PG-13.
can't. And what also bugs me is that AVP Requiem did it better. Is that you have this human cast of characters that are there by necessity, and the whole concept, and this was even in the marketing, is that whoever wins, we lose.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
The human characters in the first AVP are mostly worthless and are all taken out of the picture almost immediately.
That's true. We don't even get any fun like getting picked off or anything.
I mean, that's what you do with the human characters. That's why they're there, is to provide a body count. To keep the audience engaged. It's like the slasher movie rule where you got to kill someone every 10 to 15 minutes, otherwise they're going to get bored.
There's not even a good death in that movie.
No. Everybody gets dragged away. I think
the queen dying. I think that's the best death. Is her like
arguably, yes.
I think that might be the best scene. It's the best scene, I think, but the best death in the movie.
I mean, the one that has the most emotional resonance is I can't even call it a kill. It's the Italian guy getting shot by the lady because she's a good actress and she shows that she cares. Then the Scottish guy dying was off screen. The guy from Gladiator with the scar on his face, the Irish guy or whatever.
I forgot
he gets like yanked into the ceiling or something. He gets nothing. It's
that was effective in Alien 3. Yanked. That was effective.
No, the warden. That was great.
That was good.
Well, I mean, that was great because it was during a crowd. It was during a crowd scene, and he's delivering a speech. And it's like gruesome and like.
What the fuck just happened?
It changed the tone.
Oh, it did.
It's just like, oh, now
this is real. This is real life.
Now all these like shadows that Ripley's been screaming at, now they're real. But yeah, AVP, like, there's no good kills. And the human, I can't emphasize this enough, the human cast is erased from the film with the exception of the girl.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Like, I think, like, they even say, like, the pyramid rotates, like, every 10 minutes. I think it rotates, like, twice, and they're already all gone.
Yeah, and
it's just her.
Everybody's dead.
The rest of the movie is just her and her dreadlock boyfriend.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, actually.
I'm trying to think. Now, I thought that my favorite death from AVP 2, I thought the best one was the dad dying. Not the little girl's dad, like the military lady.
Well, that was mostly off screen.
It was off screen, but I found it funny because it was so traumatic to the kids.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I saw a monster, and then I just saw my dad like kill my.
Not only that, I got to watch as my mom carried me out of the room and didn't turn around.
Yeah.
Like ran without turning back.
I'm like, that's.
So how does that make you feel about your mom now?
Why don't you mention that the hot girl wants the hot girl? Like now I want to see that.
You want to see her split? Yeah, I'm almost positive that happened.
I want to see that now.
Yeah. What? The acid deaths are kind of cool. The bully guy, your Chuck or whatever.
Yeah, Chuck.
His face gets melted. That was kind of cute. Because again, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
The audience expects something bad to happen to him.
Asshole.
What's the worst thing we can do to him? Let's melt his fucking face off.
I think the pregnant lady exploding was really good because she's just like flipped out. Like she's.
You could tell that was thrown in there like. It's like, can we slip this past the censors? Will the studio let us do this? Because this is some dark ass shit.
I think that might have been why they were able to get away with. Can you do that in Canada? By the way, like this is all shot in Canada. I can just imagine like it's all a bunch of like mom and pa like working on the set. Like, oh, what you got going on?
Oh, you got a pregnant lady there.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh gosh! Oh darn! Oh gosh!
Just all them aliens in there.
Well, she got aliens coming out of her stomach there.
I don't think that Canada have. I don't think they have that much fake blood up there. I don't know,
man. Like I'm starting to catch wind of this actually. Like there is a market for low budget horror movies produced in Canada. Like that, it's a thing.
Okay.
Like Ginger Snaps, Wolf Cop. Like they look into it.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Like I can't name them off the top of my head, but look into it. Like Canadian horror, Connexploitation they call it.
I just imagine
just a thing.
I imagine like somebody's mom, like one of the Canadian actors is just like someone's mom's in there. She's bringing like maple cookies. She's like, what? I want to show my mom the set, you know. I want to show her, like they go to the oh, what you shooting over here? Like I got her in the hospital bed. Oh, what's on your belly? Oh, and just,
oh, isn't that nice?
Oh, she just pukes and dies on the spot. Yeah, kill my mom. This is too American for Canadians to watch. They're killing They're killing fetuses and pregnant moms.
Yeah, I think I would go with the acid death or the girl getting split in half. It was one or the other.
I thought it was pretty funny because they just kind of spent so much time building this and then it's just yanked from them. Just that.
It was funny. Like I was in the theater, I laughed, and I was meant to.
I think now that you mentioned like this kind of almost like a homage to like old like B horror movies, like I might have to watch this again just to see if I can pick up on it a bit more.
Yeah. Also, like just keep in mind like the angles and like the lensing, because really there's so much of it is obviously done in a certain way because they're trying to pay tribute to the thing that they love. Mm-hmm. It's not a good movie, but you know it's still fun to watch if you ask me.
Okay, so should we talk about The Predator?
Yeah, I think. There's just not much to say about AVP.
No, there really isn't.
Sorry about that, Paul. But we know you made a boring movie that it just isn't that fun.
I'm sure you and Mila are listening right now.
Yeah. Find them, destroy them. Do it for me, Paul.
I swear to God, if I see an Umbrella Company sticker anywhere near me,
oh wow, that'd be awesome.
You think he has it on his car?
I'm sure
he's got. That'd be really funny.
Which brings us to The Predator.
The Predator.
2018.
I think it is... So, I was talking about this with a couple of buddies. I'm like, I think it's going to be good. One, Shane Black is involved. I think that's going to be helpful. It has an actor... He's the actor from Logan, I believe is who it was.
Yeah.
Remember the blonde...
Boyd Holbrook.
Boyd Holbrook, yes.
Yeah. Boyd.
I really liked him in Logan. I really liked Logan, and I think that he's going to be good in this movie.
I liked him in Logan. I think I can't be positive if it was him or just some other guy that looks like Kurt Cobain or something. But there's a Liam Neeson movie called Run All Night that I happen to enjoy.
That might be him.
It's one of those like almost real time kind of action movies.
Okay.
Where it's about him and his son Joel Kinnaman, who are he's basically trying to protect his son from the Irish mob.
Okay.
And he Boyd Holbrook. No, wait. Different Liam Neeson movie. Shit. Walk Among the Tombstones. Fuck.
I think.
Do the thing. It wasn't Run All Night. It was Walk Among the Tombstones. It's about the guy from The Guest. He's a British actor that is apparently very good, but I've only seen him in bad things.
I still need to see that.
It's about him. His wife gets abducted by David Harbour or whatever, the guy who's playing the new Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a serial killer who abducts people, and he abducts like a money launderer's wife. And his brother is played by Boyd Holbrook, who is like a crack addict artist who's obsessed with the wife, but it's the guy's brother. Anyway, he was good at playing like a drug-addled loser. Mm-hmm. So I've seen him in Logan and that. So I've seen him be a southern gentleman with a silver tongue that's a complete prick and is awful to children, and a crackhead artist who's also kind of a loser. So I've seen him play characters I'm not meant to like. Okay. Which makes me curious how he is as a leading man, because I don't know.
It would be cool if they make him not good, because I think he's better as villain.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I look at the construction of the cast, and his name is pushed to the top of the list, which makes you assume he's probably the lead. But then there's a ton of other really likable people in that cast, like Tom Jane.
Key. I think it's Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele.
Yeah, the two of them alone.
I'm concerned when you're going to do a horror movie and you have a comedic actor like Danny McBride in Alien.
Alien Covenant. Fuck.
He's good, but he's good in it. But like when I see Danny McBride, I think
distracting.
Kenny fucking Powers. I'm thinking
he's
like
very distracting.
I think he's going to be funny, but he does a good job in that movie. And then when I see Key, he's crazy funny. Like I love Key and Peele, and he was really funny on Reno 911. He was a recurring character. He's really, really funny. I'm like, what am I gonna get? I've never seen him do a serious character.
No, but I mean the old saying goes like comedy's usually the hardest thing to do as an actor, which is part of my theory as to why you see a lot of older actors start to try their hand at it, when they get advanced in age and have already racked up Oscars. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, it's probably an easy payday. But on the other, if you're asking Robert De Niro to be funny, who has asked him to be funny before that? It's like, for him, it's probably a stretch.
Yeah. He's funny in Analyze This. I actually rewatched that a few weeks ago. It's still pretty I mean, it's problematic. There's it doesn't age well, some of the jokes, but he's still pretty funny.
My point is, like, someone like Meryl Streep or somebody doing Mamma Mia. On one hand, it's like, this seems beneath her, but at the same time, it's like,
it's probably challenging.
It's probably challenging. She's probably never done this before, and it's probably a little scary, a little different. And singing and dancing is probably something she's not been asked to do before.
Now that you mention that, I think that Dave Bautista might have the most interesting career as an actor.
Oh, I love me some Bautista.
So he went from what is probably the worst acting in the world, the World Wrestling Federation.
Hey, you hold your tongue.
It's awful.
You hold your tongue, sir.
I've never seen him there, but I know that it can't be good because it's professional wrestling, and it's gotten so heightened with the storylines now. It cannot be good. But the first movie I saw him in was Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh. And he's fucking hilarious. Like he's
excellent.
He's arguably the best parts of those two movies.
I think so.
He's so funny.
No, he has all the best lines. His timing is perfect.
His incredible comedic timing.
He has the best laugh, too.
It just stops the room. It's so his laugh is just funny.
No, it's great. And
Blade Runner 2049.
He's very good.
And I was sitting there watching, like, that dude is a fucking monster. I'm like, and I just kind of looked at him like, that looks like Dave Bautista. And then he started talking, I'm like, holy shit, he's doing a serious role. And he's really good. He's really good in that role.
He actually just had a theatrical movie release in the UK. I forget what it's called, but it's Die Hard in a soccer stadium, and I really want to see it. It's Ray Stevenson as the villain, Pierce Brosnan as the sub-villain.
Oh,
and Dave Bautista's the headliner, an American, like, ex-military guy in the UK, and this guy Martin Ford, who's like a legit like 6'9" bodybuilder from the UK.
That's terrifying.
He's covered in tattoos, like on the skull, like up to the skull.
When you're 6'9" and jacked, you can pretty much tattoo anything.
enormous. He was in Undisputed 4, Scott Adkins movie.
Scott Adkins.
I'm plugging my boy Scott Adkins.
Yeah, Scott Adkins.
You knew he would come up at some point.
I did.
But yeah, this movie, I forget what it's called, god damn it. But yeah, Batista in Die Hard in a soccer stadium with a pretty decent cast.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yes. But don't before we get off Batista, because I got there's always stuff to say about Batista. There's a movie called Bushwick. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not.
Worth your time, man. Absolutely worth your time. It's the first 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes of it, or shot to be one take. I mean, it's obviously edited, but it's about a portion of the country seceding from the Union and invading a New York neighborhood.
Oh, really?
And Batista, it's basically Batista and a young girl trekking across the neighborhood, trying to go from one end of New York to the other, and it's shot in a very intimate, voyeuristic style. And it's very low budget, but very ambitious. It feels kind of like a John Carpenter movie.
Okay.
And all the riot scenes and stuff are the details are great. There's even a scene where some rabbis are getting rifles and fighting for the neighborhood. It's great.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah. Batista is phenomenal in it.
So I'm just kind of looking at the cast real quick. Olivia Munn, she is...
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of beef with her. She ruined your boy.
I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah, she ruined Aaron Rodgers.
So she was in X-Men Apocalypse. I don't think she says anything in that movie. That movie wasn't good, but not because of her. It just wasn't that good. Yeah. She was in Office Christmas Party, which was pretty funny. It's just one of those comedies that come out and then you just never remember them again. They just come out in that year. It just kind of has to deal with what's happening in our culture that year. And then next year, it's what's that reference to? I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's basically just let's get as many celebrities in this movie as possible, put asses in seats, script is secondary. Yeah. Let's just riff.
Let's see what...
Just get on the set and riff.
It has Kate McKinnon. It's going to be funny.
There you
go. But yeah, she's in that. She's not really good. She doesn't really have a noticeable screen presence. She's not really funny. She doesn't really do doesn't really do anything. So, but that movie was better.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that
you think there's an upward trajectory?
I think there's an upward trajectory because I think that she might be in a better movie this time. I don't know what her performance is going to be like.
I don't know, but I think it's convenient that X-Men was also a Fox production, so she probably signed a multi-picture deal with them. I'd have to guess, and
so it has Thomas Jane.
Tom Jane, my boy.
Tom Jane.
Speaking of the Punisher.
And Alfie Allen. He is from Game of Thrones, which you haven't seen.
No wonder I don't know who that is.
He is... You've seen him in John Wick. He is the guy that wants to buy his car. That's him.
He's a good asshole.
He is a great asshole.
He's going to get killed. He's going to get killed real good.
You should watch Game of Thrones because his character is very interesting. Okay. He, like you said, that he plays a good asshole. What happens to his character is interesting because he goes from being kind of an asshole to completely submissive and it's really interesting. I can't really tell you too much about because Ramsay, dude, greatest Game of Thrones villain ever. And then Boyd Holbrook. Holbrook. I think he's from Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken.
Kentucky.
I looked it up because he's doing a really good job with that southern accent and
he stretched it big time in Logan. He made good use of it.
Yeah, he was from Kentucky. I'm like, he's doing that pretty well. I'm like, I think he might be from...
He's a Johnny Deppman.
Yep. Actually, I drove through Owensboro where Johnny Depp is from. So yeah, I think that in order for this movie to be good, I'm concerned now. I just saw this. I saw the CGI on this Predator right here. Do you see it right there?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That looks awful. That if I had seen that first, I'm like, there's no way this is gonna be good. I think as long as it's violent, as long as they stick to the violence, because that's what you want to see in the Predator movie. Is I want to see cool kills and I want to see just
Well, I don't know if you've seen the most recent trailer for it, but it reeks of someone in the marketing department hitting the panic button. No joke. I try to get in these people's heads as best I can because it's been well publicized that it's been a little bit of a troubled production. They did. I mean, it's not uncommon for a big budget movie. I mean, not that this is a massive budget movie, but it's pretty common to have reshoots. And I guess the whole climax of the movie was reshot.
Oh no shit!
That's kind of a
That's
big
not
deal.
what you want. That's not what you want.
And it was done fairly recently. I guess they changed it from like a daylight scene to a night scene because test audiences didn't like it. They thought it wasn't intense enough.
Okay.
So that meant that the director on the set believed in the day shot. So his intent was to do that, but due to external forces, it was changed, which usually that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
One thing though,
Go ahead.
the most recent trailer was a Red Band trailer.
Okay.
I do know that there was some critical backlash because people thought that the movie was looking too goofy. Red Band trailer means explicit content. Usually it means you can't play it on like national television or something.
Yeah.
So the whole point of that trailer is basically to reintroduce the audience to like, oh hey, yeah, the violence is there. Like, don't worry. I know we have the Key and Peele guy in this movie.
Yeah.
But there's blood.
There's
Trust
blood.
us, it's there. So to me, that's why I think it's like kind of like there's a lack of confidence in the marketing, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I see Olivia Munn and I see Keegan-Michael Key, I'm like, I mean, he's a comedic actor.
Well,
like,
think about like the bankability of these people. Like, he's the most bankable actor in there, if you ask me.
I mean, yeah, I didn't know
he's probably secondary.
Is
too.
Tom Jane in the trailer?
Yes.
I did not see him.
He actually looks really weird. Like, he looks like a little gremlin, man.
I heard a story about him the other day. I don't know if it's true. I'll mention it after this but that might be why.
Okay. But yeah,
I don't know.
He's in the trailer. He's not pushed as a marketing element though. It's not like the iconic scene in a movie or whatever where someone turns around and then the music stops.
Oh, it's Tom Jane.
It's like, oh my god, it's Tom. No, he's just kind of on a bus and says something funny.
See, the only person I really want to see is just because I saw him in Logan is
Boyd Holbrook.
Boyd Holbrook.
Well, the other element, and this is something that could toss a monkey wrench into things. This is the kind of stuff that makes me kind of nervous. I know there's a child in the cast.
Oh.
The original promotional material for the movie was a cast photo. Like, that was one of the first things we got. And it was all the people that you mentioned, and then a little boy in a yellow raincoat. Children in a Predator movie make me very nervous.
That kid better die.
Yeah, he better fucking die. Yeah, because, I mean, there's a...
Kill that kid.
For me, like, children are, like... On the one hand, yeah, a lot of 80s horror movies had children in them as protagonists or like major elements in the story very effectively, but Predator's not one of those franchise characters that seems to add up.
Aliens does it really well. I think that the kid element in Aliens...
Oh, it's beautiful because you have mother, child,
yes, it's
queen,
really, really good.
Spawn, it's perfect.
And the way they kill her is really good too.
Yeah.
They have her drown.
Yeah.
Like it's a really heavy moment because that was what Sigourney Weaver, or what Ripley was working towards.
Yeah,
saving this girl.
It's like losing a child in childbirth or something.
Yeah. And
it's very obvious what they're trying to do, and it's very emotionally manipulative. It's good.
It was very good.
But when I think little boy and a Predator, the interactions between those two parties,
God.
It's like,
yeah,
what could you do with them?
Want some candy?
Want some candy was fine. It was stupid.
It was stupid.
But that's the extent of it. It's like, what else do you do between a little boy and a Predator?
Well, I don't even know what the story is with this movie.
I've kind of avoided it too.
I don't really want to know. I don't know if it's, did they crash land? Like, what's the deal?
There's a shot of a ship looking like it's crashing.
Because
it didn't look like a good landing at the very least.
Is this an extension? Because if this is an extension of the Predator, like all the movies that have come so far, Predator 2 doesn't really touch on Predator 1 at all.
Predator,
no,
they do.
Do they?
They do. Gary Busey says he shows.
Yes.
Yeah, he shows a photo of the girl that survived.
Okay. So
they mention Arnold, but Arnold probably cost money to put on screen. So
do you know how much he made? Do you want to know how much he made for Batman and Robin? Do you want to know how much he made for Batman and Robin?
Yes.
$25 million. Do you know how much he made? Do you know how much he made for Terminator 3? He stopped doing movies after that. Or he stopped getting paid that much because they're like, fuck that, dude. We're not $30 million for Terminator.
Fuck.
That's. I looked it up and I'm like, I should have looked that up.
Like, imagine like if you put a stock photo of him in Predator 2, it's like the budget just like tripled.
Oh my gosh. like, you want me to do your Predator
like,
movie?
oh, you want to use my headshot in your movie?
You can't afford me, Shane. You can't afford. Yes, I know.
Shane, I know you died in the jungle and I did nothing to help you. It's okay.
I do really like the
Shane.
I do like the new post. I like the poster that they have.
Oh, I like the color palette. The mask is a little.
The creature design, I think the costume design for this movie is they're going above and beyond because I've seen 3 different so far.
Yeah, it does look like there's at least 2. One looks like the classic Predator. One is featured in the marketing extensively. It's much bigger.
He's wearing a spacesuit in one of these. It looks like.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yes. I'm curious as to how that's going to work out. I think it's going to be good as long as it's violent. I think that's the only thing.
They've confirmed the violence. My apprehension comes in the form of the child.
Yep.
The tone, because I see that cast and I hear news of it being goofy, and I can't help but think that yes, that's probably true. Mm-hmm. That's fine. One thing that is a interesting element is Fred Decker. I mentioned him at the top of this recording. Fred Decker, I know him mostly for a movie called Night of the Creeps. Mm-hmm. It is 80s splatter horror at its best. It's a very good movie. It's fun. Okay. It's about alien slugs that go in through your mouth. It's related to Squirm, I guess, but or Slither, rather.
I saw Relic, or what's the one in the museum?
Relic.
Relic. I just saw Relic.
Oh. Yeah. It's Alien in a Museum. It's not great. Stan Winston, though, he did the makeup effects. He did the monster. It's
pretty not great movie.
It's pretty not great. And I'm sorry I suggested that to you. That totally came from my recommendation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, Fred Decker did that movie Night of the Creeps. And the beginning of it is almost like beat for beat the same as AVP Requiem.
Oh.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the makers of that film drew inspiration from that, because the beginning of the movie is some random aliens in space, like in orbit of Earth, and one of them is stealing a bioweapon, and his buddies are shooting at him, and he manages to escape and crashes on Earth with the weapon. And the weapon comes in the form of these slugs that go in through people's mouths and take over their brains, and then the slugs breed in their brains, and their heads explode, and more slugs come out and invade other people's bodies. And it's very 80s splatter horror. So it has that goofy feel to it. Mm-hmm. So it's very violent, but it's like Evil Dead kind of, where it's like it's winking at you the whole time. It's not meant to be scary. It's meant to be fun. So maybe that's what they're going for. That seems very odd for a Predator film, but it worked in that film.
One thing I would be concerned about, now that I think about it, is backstory. Trying to figure out, well, where'd they come from? Why are they here? And
it seems like they're going to try to go into that.
It does. I think you're right.
And I mean, they've had 2 movies that have barely touched it, so they can do whatever they want.
First movie, no clue.
That's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah. Introduce the character, but by introducing the character and you want to keep making money off of that franchise, you kind of have to go back a little bit and develop the character a little bit more.
No, I mean, the idea is you do it baby steps, because especially in this day and age, this wasn't so much true in the 80s, because in 1987... we didn't even know if we were gonna get a sequel.
No.
Like, look how many years it took. Like, even Alien and Aliens, there are, I think, 7 years between those 2 movies. Mm-hmm. Sequels were never guaranteed.
And they're kind of different. They're different movies.
They're totally different movies. Even Terminator 1 and 2,
they're entirely different.
Vastly different films. And we live in a different era, though. And everybody, it seems, is using the world to write the movie for them. So what you do is, and this is brilliant from a filmmaking standpoint, well, not from a film production standpoint, is you release teasers of things, read the room, like like follow all the forums, read what people are saying, get a feel for the buzz, and then just yank the things that aren't working with people, and then put more of the stuff in that people like.
Yeah. So
you let the audience write the movie for you. And so you never want to stuff too much in there all right away. You want to just feed it to them piecemeal, leave things enigmatic. Like, I mean, I know you're not too much of a Star Wars guy, but the J.J. Abrams Star Wars, there were so many elements to the story in that were purposefully left enigmatic in the hopes that they would work itself out later.
You know who I don't think have test screenings of their movies and take any kind of feedback would be the Coen brothers, because
yeah,
the No Country for Old Men, I don't think anybody would have been okay with that. Like that, any part of that movie. Like, no. He can't kill his wife at the end. You can't have that.
It's like
the Coen brothers do not give a fuck about
like,
what
Joel. How do you feel about kids? It's like,
I don't care.
It's like these days, like test audiences, like, would you be all right if we put a little black kid in your like in No Country for Old Men? Like, yeah, like, wouldn't it be cool if like Shiger had like a little sidekick, like a kid that follows him around, is all spunky.
Did you see Cop and a Half?
Did you see Cop and a Half? Burt Reynolds, classic picture.
Did
you ever see Turner and Hooch? Oh, I love that.
That's a great film.
It's a great picture. That's how winning is done.
I think, all in all, I think that this will, in the rankings, I think that this will be better than Predators, but not better than AVP 2. That's what I'm guessing.
Not better than Predators.
It's going to be better than Predators. It's not going to be better than 1 or 2.
I think I'm inclined to agree.
It might be a little better than Requiem, just depending on how the violence goes, and you could have. It could be a little stupid for me. Like it could, there might be some funny stuff, but just, give me some good. Give me some good gore.
I mean, part of that too might be the particular lens that we're looking at these movies through, because Predator 2 in particular, I could see that being a massively divisive film because we're relatively close in age. Think about a kid seeing Predator 2. Bill Paxton, Danny Glover, Gary Busey. That is a stacked fucking cast. Yeah, Robert Davi's in there. The guy who played the police chief from all the Lethal Weapon movies is in there in a bit role.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Like, every Hispanic gangster in that is a guy you've seen in every action movie ever.
They're a lot of character actors.
If you were alive during that time period, which we were, every fucking face in that movie is recognizable. It's huge. It's a massive cast.
The lady,
even fucking Adam Baldwin's in there.
Adam Baldwin, the
Internet Toilet.
Yeah. As a podcast that we like to listen to says Internet Toilet. Adam Baldwin.
But think of the ensemble we have right now.
The lady from Colors, Maria. I can't think of her name.
Conchita. I said Gonzalez.
It's Alonzo, I think.
Alonzo.
She's in Colors, and then I knew her from Colors.
Was she the one from The Running Man?
She might have been.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Yeah, with Arnold, I think.
Now that I think about it, the thing about those the first two movies that's good as well is that you have a really strong leader in both of those movies. Like Danny Glover commands that team.
Part of why I'm curious about Boyd is like, can he be that guy, or is he going to even be asked to be that guy?
See, I actually think there's one of the other guys that I've seen him in stuff, but I don't know what. Is it Trevante Rhodes? I think. Maybe that's who it was, or somebody's given some some exposition in that movie. Sterling Brown, I think it was Sterling Brown was the one talking like these things are big or whatever.
I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, I think he might be cast into the leadership role.
I don't know. To me, based just solely on that, I got a Gary Busey vibe from him. G-Man.
Okay, yeah.
Like you have your scrappy band of dudes, and then the government.
Yeah.
I got that.
You think that's him? Okay,
I got that from him.
So, is Tom Jane going to be Han Solo, or reluctant?
I think
hero?
Tom Jane's going to be Walton Goggins.
I think he's going to be reluctant hero. I think that
I would love that. I love me some Tom Jane.
Yeah.
Oh,
him and Boogie Nights is great.
Oh yeah, no, he's great. He's fantastic.
Like, give me the money.
Yeah, that scene. But No, I've always loved Tom Jane.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much I think that's a wrap on AVP.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. We're both just speculating right now. It sounds like we both kind of consciously avoided like plot details and stuff. I've just kind of been following the production, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Sounds like we're basically in the same boat. And I think you're spot on. I do feel like Predator 2 though probably deserves to be ranked lower. It's just mostly nostalgia or something on our part.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna change your ranking. I think you got pretty spot on. But
The Predator 2 is up higher just because of the violence for me. I think the violence is good in it. I enjoyed that.
This one might bump it then because I think it has it. I think it has that over it.
I mean, we're living in the age of Saw has happened. We've had Hostel, which is the better torture movie in my opinion. We're coming from like Texas Chainsaw Massacre to the beginning, which is brutal for the violence. I walked out of that. I couldn't.
That's saying a lot, folks.
I walked out of it because I smoked a little pot with a buddy. Like that's not a movie you watch. That is too heavy. Like we're living in the age where those movies have happened, and those movies are brutal, like very very graphic. This is a little bit different. This is gonna be like action violence. So I'm curious as to see how they go about it. Basically,
at the end of the day, Shane Black, Predator. That's enough to get me to go see it.
Yes.
So we shall see. Until next time.
Watch Blade Runner 2049.